Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome each and every participant here for the seminar on audit trail as well as on the ITR filing. First of all, I welcome Mr. Nitish Moore, and I asked him to come on the dais, please. Kirsadi Sharma ji already on the dais. I'll request Ms. Jyoti Mantal also to come on dais. I request everyone to stand up for the motto song of ICI. Thank you. So I am coming directly to the point. I request Nitish Moorji to come on the So we start the session with Nitish Moorji on audit trail.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first ask, what are your queries on audit trail? Let us interact on those points. Then we will incorporate. I will incorporate those queries whenever I will discussing the provisions and whenever it is required. So let me first ask all the queries with all of you. What are your queries on audit trail? Yes, please.
चेंज होगा
ठीक है, ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग का वो सब इनकॉर्पोरेट
वो हो
है,
जाएगा।
मैनुअल इनकॉर्पोरेट है,
ओके
आपका भी इनकॉर्पोरेट है।
और मैनुअल अकाउंट्स मेंटेन करते हैं तो क्या होगा उसका इम्पोर्ट है। सर मुझे और एक चीज़ जानना है कि जब टैली अपडेट होता है तो क्या वो डाटा क्लाउड में जाता है, डिपार्टमेंट का मांग सकता है? कि हमको पता भी नहीं चले, डिपार्टमेंट डायरेक्ट टैली को लिख दिया और मेरा IP एड्रेस उनके पास में है, तो क्लाइंट को भी पता नहीं चलेगा, हमको भी नहीं मालूम पड़ेगा उनके डिपार्टमेंट के पास ये इन्फॉर्मेशन है। थैंक यू।
ठीक है, अच्छा दिमाग लगाया आपने। वन न्यू क्वेरी आई गॉट टुडे। एनी अदर? बोलिए, आप लोग पूछेंगे नहीं तो कैसे अपने उसको डिस्कस करेंगे और कैसे अपने जानेंगे? हमको आज एक नया क्वेरीज इनका आया, अपने 10-12 सेमिनार तो ईस्टर्न रीजन में अपने कर ही लिए, तो ये नया क्वेरी आया कि भाई IP एड्रेस से ट्रैक तो नहीं हो जाएगा, डिपार्टमेंट तो उसका यदि सर्वर में रहता है तो वो ट्रैक हो सकता है। ठीक है, ये क्वेरी है, ठीक है, अच्छा है ये। और क्वेरीज माने एनी मोर क्वेरीज? Sir, kindly request everybody, kindly use, we have mics here. Okay. So kindly use mics so that everybody can hear the question.
If there is a software problem and the whole data has to be rewritten, what happens? Then is it your fault or is it the, how do you get away with this?
Or
Yes. Now, there are certain companies which have not yet taken off with these audit trail matters. They are using still the old tally software on things. Now, mid-year they want to start it. Now, how will they go about and these practical things, Thank you.
Can you repeat once again?
I mean, they have not yet started. I mean, we are supposed to start it from 1st of April, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they have not started.
Now
What
already
is the-
so many
yeah,
months has
pro-
gone by.
okay,
Maybe
okay.
1 or 2 months will go by before you can install. You know, there's expense matters are there also. They will need time to them. Now, what do they do about all the last months? How to tackle the situation? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
More questions, sir?
Sir, what about the auditor's liability? If he doesn't comment, I think the comment is mandatory, but suppose he miss comments, then
It is incorporated. All questions incorporated. Yeah. More questions, please. More questions, please.
Maintaining the audit trail by a company, whether maybe a big or small or OPC, if doesn't maintain the audit trail, whether there is
Okay,
any liability
incorporated.
imposed by MCA right now. And
I will
one
take
more
that.
question is, sir, whether the audit trail has to be maintained by the branch office as well as the head office, both.
Yes, both. Yes. Okay. More questions, please. I want no questions should be left. No questions? No more questions? Friends, my seniors, respected seniors, friends, my professional colleagues, the topic today is audit trail. So, what are the provisions relating to audit trail? So, the Companies Act is there. Then the ICI that has come out with a guidance note. So, this we call implementation guide on reporting under Rule 11G of the Audit and Auditors Rules 2014. Then the provisions of the Companies Act itself are there. Then the audit rules are there. Then the accounting rules are also there. Then fourth, this implementation guide. So let me take with you one by one how it impact, what are the provisions, what we should do, what are our practical difficulties, and how we should deal with our practical difficulties, or how the accountant should deal with their practical difficulties also. What are our penal provisions that are there for non-compliance? What is the penal provisions if accounts is not maintained as per the provisions? What is the penal provision if audit report is not as per the provisions? So, friends, why audit trail? Why provisions of audit trail? MCA knows that in the next year, July, August or September, maybe 2 days before or 5 days before, they will come with bank statements, they will come with all the documents. So to compel the clients, to compel the companies to maintain the accounts on real-time basis, this provision has been incorporated. So this is beneficial for the audit profession as far as audit profession is concerned. So the problem lies with the companies, not for the CA professionals, as far as my understanding goes to. You are corporate, you have taken a certificate that you are a company, then behave like a corporate. Must maintain your accounts on regular basis, on real time basis say, and whether it is of your branch, whether it is of anywhere, that is even whether it is of fixed asset also, whether it is of inventory also, proper and regular. So regular, by this provision, the MCA mandate to maintain the accounts on regular basis, and this is for the companies only. This provision are not applicable applicable as of now, but I believe that a notification may come and extend it to LLP also. Then the proper books of accounts. Friends, the provisions relating to maintaining the proper books of accounts are already there in the Companies Act. Can anybody tell me which provision is there? कौन से सेक्शन में ये प्रोविजन है कि हर कंपनी को प्रॉपर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा? एनीवन सर? Sir, section 128, what it says? It says that every company shall maintain and keep its books of accounts, which gives a true and fair view of the states of affairs of the company. These provisions was already there in the earlier act also. बट प्रॉपर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स का तो प्रोविजन था, रियल टाइम का नहीं था. तो ये जो रूल्स लाया है, ये जो नोटिफिकेशन आया है, इससे नाउ द कंपनीज आर मेंटेन टू मेंटेन द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स ऑन रियल टाइम ऑल्सो. सर ये 128 का प्रोविजन है. The proviso to it states, क्या बोलता है सर, ये देखें. The company may keep such books of accounts or other relevant paper in electronic mode also in such manner as may be prescribed. तो ये जो प्रोविजो था, ये कंपनीज एक्ट इनकॉर्पोरेट हुआ जब कंपनीज एक्ट में ऑलरेडी नोटिफाइड था, बट मैनर प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं था. मैनर प्रिस्क्राइब होता है सर रूल से. तो गवर्नमेंट ने, एमसीए ने अकाउंट्स रूल्स लाया. तो बेसिक प्रोविजन इज सेक्शन 128, इट्स सेकेंड प्रोविजो प्रोवाइड्स. इसमें यह रूल नोटिफाई हुआ है. दिस आई कॉल अकाउंट्स रूल्स, एंड दिस रूल इज फॉर द कंपनीज. उससे पहले और कुछ बातें छूट गई है. ऑडिट ट्रेल क्या है? ऑडिट ट्रेल इट इज ए लॉग. सर कैसा होता है ये ऑडिट ट्रेल? ये अपने देखेंगे स्क्रीनशॉट, वी विल सी. अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर. सर एक टर्म है सॉफ्टवेयर. इज एक्सेल ए सॉफ्टवेयर? द आंसर इज यस. Is Tally a software? The answer is yes. Is SAP a software? Answer is yes. Is Tally an accounting software? The answer is yes. Is SAP is an accounting software? The answer is yes. But is Excel an accounting software? Is Excel an accounting software? No. Sir, क्यों? Let us go by the decision. Accounting software is a computer program or system that enables recording, maintaining and reporting of books of accounts and relevant ecosystem applicable to business requirement. So relevant ecosystem is not there in the software. So Excel is not an accounting software. Even if somehow somebody says कि नहीं मैं ऐसे करके accounts maintain कर लूँगा, but then I will ask next question. Is Excel an accounting software with an audit trail? The answer will always be no. सर ये सब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स. सर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स क्या है? मनी रिसीट एंड एक्सपेंडेड, उससे रिलेटेड जो भी है इनकम एक्सपेंडिचर, ऑल सेल्स परचेज, all records relating to assets and liability, fixed asset register also, inventory register also, assets से related है sir. They are also books of accounts, please note. Then the notified cost records also. All these definitions are very crucial. Then 28(1), sir contravention का provision क्या है, प्रॉब्लम का पेनल्टी क्या है? मेनी पर्सन्स वे आस्किंग, क्या होगा यदि रूल्स का, यदि सेक्शन 128 फॉलो नहीं किया जाए? एक क्या है, बेसिक है, प्रॉपर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स कंपनी को मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा, दिस इज वन सेक्शन में है. देन रूल्स में है कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली जब भी मेंटेन करेंगे तो दिस मस्ट बी एज पर द प्रोविजंस. तो वो रूल जो नोटिफाई है उसको फॉलो अप नहीं करेंगे तभी भी ये पेनल्टी लगेगी. बहुत छोटी सी पेनल्टी होती है कंपनीज एक्ट में आजकल 2013 के बाद आने से. कितनी पेनल्टी एक कंपनी पे लग सकती है सर ऑडिट ट्रेल प्रोविजंस कंप्लाई नहीं करने पे? एनीवन प्लीज, मैक्सिमम कितनी पेनल्टी लग सकती है एक कंपनी पे along with its director? कितनी लग सकती है? 15 लाख, 20 लाख, 25 लाख? छोटी छोटी पेनल्टी होती है सर. ये अकाउंट्स रूल है. व्हाट इट सेज, इट स्टेट्स दैट फ्रॉम 1st of April every company which uses an accounting software, so if you are using an accounting software for maintenance of maintaining books of accounts, then shall use only such accounting software which has the feature of audit trail. So आप टैली यूज करते हैं तो उस टैली में अकाउंटिंग फीचर होना ही होना चाहिए, सैप में होना ही होना चाहिए. इफ इट इज रिलेटिंग टू बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, आप कुछ भी मेंटेन करते हैं, फिक्स एसेट रजिस्टर, इन्वेंट्री, दिस इज कमिंग फ्रॉम दिस रूल्स. और रूल्स का यदि आप रूल्स हैज बीन नोटिफाइड अंडर द प्रोविजो, वो फॉलो नहीं करते हैं तो वो पेनल्टी, ये सर छोटी हो या बड़ी हो या मीडियम साइज की हो, बहुत छोटी भी हो तभी भी सेम पेनल्टी है सर. सो ऑडिट ट्रेल का फीचर होना ही होना चाहिए. देन ऑडिटर्स के लिए हम लोग रिपोर्ट करते हैं सर 143(3) में. सो दैट पैरा हम लोग अदर मैटर्स में वी हैव टू इंसर्ट वन पैरा. दिस इज व्हाट आई कॉल द ऑडिट रूल्स. ये ऑडिट रूल्स है कि आपको ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में एक पैरा इंसर्ट करना होगा, एक सिंपल लैंग्वेज में आई मस्ट से. सर ये पैरा कैसा होगा? 2023 का जो अभी रिपोर्टिंग होगा उसमें 22-23 फाइनेंशियल ईयर का, उसमें कैसा होगा दैट आई विल शो यू द फॉर्मेट, वन लाइनर फॉर्मेट विल बी देयर. और सब्सिक्वेंटली माने नेक्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर से जो होगा उसका भी आई विल शो यू द फॉर्मेट, विल डिस्कस. सर पेनल्टी क्या है? डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन हो सकता है, दिस इज वन. कंपनीज एक्ट में क्या पेनल्टी हो सकती है सर? 143(3) का पेनल्टी सेक्शन 143 और किसी सेक्शन में नहीं है. देन वी हैव टू गो बाय द रेसिडुअरी सेक्शन का पेनल्टी, जिसमें कंपनीज एक्ट में कोई भी यदि पेनल प्रोविजन होता है और पेनल्टी प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं है उसका कंट्रावेंशन का, तो ये छोटी सी पेनल्टी है सर. 10,000 प्लस कंटिन्यूस डिफॉल्ट का 1,000 पर डे. 4 साल हो जाता है, 8 साल हो जाता है, तो 8 साल का 1,000, 10,000 प्लस 1,000 इंटू 365 इंटू नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स, 8 साल. ये नोटिस आ जाती है छोटी सी. अभी भी बहुत सारी आप लोगों ने रिसीव की होगी फॉर बैंड 2, रिप्लाई भी दिया होगा. सर (11G) rules, what it says, It requires auditor to report whether the company has used such accounting software for maintaining books of account which has the feature of audit trail. And this feature should be there from 1st April 2023. We had already seen this. Such feature has not been tempered. कोई छेड़खानी नहीं, छेड़छाड़ नहीं होना चाहिए. टेम्पर्ड का हिंदी मीनिंग होता है that nobody tempered this, and it must be preserved for 8 years. The same provision that we are required for maintaining books of accounts, audit log has to be maintained, audit trail has to be maintained and preserved by the company for current year, और लास्ट 8 साल तक का मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल से जो पीरियड का होता है. सर मैनुअल हम यदि मेंटेन करते हैं तो, सर मैनुअल मेंटेन यदि करते हैं बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, then you are not maintaining it in accounting software. So in my humble opinion, the provisions are not applicable. The provisions are not applicable, and you can maintain the manual books of accounts, and you simply have to disclose the fact of this fact that you have maintained this in the manually. You simply have to disclose. Welcome Sanjay Da. Request everybody put your hands together for the learned speaker. Then this ICI guideline, it says that any software that maintains the record will fall under the definition of books of accounts as per section 213 will be considered as accounting software. Now the company can't, यदि आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली मेंटेन करते हैं तो you can maintain only on accounting software. You can't maintain in Excel. This is coming from there. This opinion is coming from there. So example you also take, if sales are recorded in standalone software, say Excel, and only consolidated entries are recorded monthly into the software, that is the account software, say Tally, used to maintain general ledger, the sales ledger should also have the audit trail feature. So in sugarcane, say manufacturing industry, say sugarcane industry, the sugarcane maintenance software is there. Inventories are maintained there in the software. So that software must have the feature of audit trail. If you are maintaining fixed asset in software, that software must have the feature of audit trail. Am I clear to everybody? अभी तक एकदम clear है crystal? Then e-commerce company, inventories are maintained in some B2C, a specific type of software. सारा inflow outflow that is there, that is maintained there. So that also require. Hospital service industry, hospital management software is there to maintain the क्या inventory use हो रहा है, कहाँ use हो रहा है, सब. That all must have the feature of audit trail. सर जो vendor है उनको केवल फोन करना है और बोलना है कि ये फीचर इंस्टॉल करना है. So these are the responsibility of the management. बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स मेंटेनेंस की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मैनेजमेंट की है. सो ऑडिट ट्रेल इंप्लीमेंट करने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मैनेजमेंट की है. हमारा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है? एक पैरा इंसर्ट होगा इस ईयर की ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में और अगले ईयर की भी. देन say we are maintaining in Zoho software, say some software online, and the server is hosted outside India, then the provision is कि backup must be taken every day. Sir, how I will know कि मैं ये ऑनलाइन अकाउंट्स मेंटेन कर रहा हूं, इसका जो सर्वर है इंडिया में है कि नहीं है? सर, यदि लास्ट में .in है, .in मतलब .in इंडिया, तो वो सर्वर, उसका सर्वर इंडिया में मेंटेन्ड है। और जिस भी वेबसाइट का अदर है, जैसे .com है या एक्सटेंशन एनी अदर है अपार्ट फ्रॉम .in, .gov.in है तभी भी, .co.in है तभी भी इंडिया में है, अदर का जो एक्सटेंशन है दे आर नॉट, देयर सर्वर इज नॉट मेंटेन इन इंडिया। Auditor's responsibility. What is my responsibility? Sir, our responsibility is to insert one para, that is in the audit report under section report on other legal and regulatory requirement. So what we will comment, that whether the company is using an accounting software which has the feature of audit trail, the auditor is expected to verify the following aspect, that the audit trail is configured from 1st April, it is operated, feature is operated throughout the year, all transactions that are recorded in the software are covered in the audit trail feature, and this is preserved current year plus 8 years. Sir, the accounts rule provision, it is applicable from 1st April 2022-23, but report में insert para जो होगा ना, that rule is applicable from 1st April 2022. तो इसके कारण से क्या हुआ, अभी जो 22-23 की जो बैलेंस शीट होगी उसमें एक पैराग्राफ अपने को इंसर्ट करना, एक लाइन इंसर्ट करना पड़ेगा कि since accounts rules is applicable from 2023, this rule is not required to be. That format I will share with you. That in ये next slides में आएगा. All company, छोटी के लिए कोई specific नहीं है. Manually के you disclose the fact. You disclose the fact. How we will see. 8 years preservation. Sir, internal control. Sir, basically say accounts you are maintaining in Tally. So Tally software you have installed with the feature of audit trail. Internal control के लिए you have to further create the user IDs and passwords. If you have 10 accountants जो एंट्री करते हैं तो आप सबका अलग अलग यूजर आईडी पासवर्ड इंटरनल कंट्रोल पर्पस के लिए दैट मस्ट बी देयर, ताकि ये आइडेंटिफाई किया जा सके किसने अकाउंट्स में एंट्री की, किसने एंट्री मॉडिफाई की, ये इसके इस पर्पस के लिए, इंटरनल कंट्रोल पर्पस के लिए. सो सारे कंपनी में यदि आपके यहाँ पे 10 अकाउंटेंट हैं तो दे विल मेंटेन. अब ये अकाउंट्स छोटी कंपनी है, थर्ड पार्टी में बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स मेंटेन कर रहा है, तो वहाँ पे भी वो थर्ड पार्टी जो एंट्री कर रहा है सब चीज़, तो देन ही मस्ट हैव वन आईडीज जिसमें दैट यूजर आईडी, सो दैट इट इज रिफ्लेक्टेड इन द ऑडिट ट्रेल कि किसने एंट्री किया. दैट मस्ट बी देयर. दिस फीचर मस्ट बी इंस्टॉल्ड. सर ये है ऑडिट ट्रेल, ऑडिट लॉग. सर क्या है इसमें? यदि कंप्यूटर में आपके एक कंपनी के 100 ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं या 1000 हैं या 1 लाख हैं, तो 1 लाख ट्रांजैक्शन के 1 लाख ऑडिट ट्रेल ये लॉग जनरेट होगा. और जस्ट क्लिक करने से, आप ट्रांजैक्शन देख रहे हैं, जस्ट एक क्लिक करने से ये डिस्प्ले हो जाएगा स्क्रीन पे. क्या है इसमें? एक्टिविटी, यूजर नेम, डेट एंड टाइम. किस डेट एंड टाइम में वो ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ और कब कब मेंटेन हुआ, और किसने किया, ये सारा आ जाएगा। हमारा काम सोचिए, हमारा काम 1 लाख ट्रांजैक्शंस है, उसके ये 1 लाख लॉग्स है, हमने सैंपल सेलेक्ट किया से 1000 ट्रांजैक्शन का, तो उस 1000 ट्रांजैक्शन का सारे का आपको ऑडिट ट्रेल का लॉग भी देखना चाहिए। नाउ सो दिस इज द एडिशनल वर्क ईच वन हैव टू डू। और मॉडिफिकेशन हुआ तो यू हैव टू इंक्वायर क्या मॉडिफाई हुआ, नहीं हुआ, किस कारण से हुआ। देन वन एडिशनल और बहुत that may create problem in future also, that is there कि कितना एंट्री डिलीट हुआ, उसका भी लॉग रहेगा। और उसका तो आपको सारे का लॉग, यदि 1000 एंट्री डिलीट होती है तो क्यों क्रिएट हुई थी और क्यों डिलीट हुई थी, सारे का एक्सप्लेनेशन एडिशनल लेना पड़ेगा। तो 1000 तो ये एंट्री होगी जिसने आपने सैंपल सेलेक्ट किया, और 1000 डिलीशन यदि होता है तो उसका भी आपको ये देखना पड़ेगा कि मॉडिफाई के पर्पस, ये मैनिपुलेशन के पर्पस से तो ये नहीं हुआ। दैट एस्पेक्ट यू हैव टू चेक। प्रैक्टिकली आई एम सेइंग दिस इज हाउ इट इज इंपैक्टिंग ऑल ऑफ अस। सो वी आर सेइंग, क्योंकि ये इतना काम, दैट इज वाई वी आर सेइंग कि यू वन शुड नॉट डिलीट एंट्री इन माय ओपिनियन। सर 22-23 में तो ऑडिट ट्रेल फीचर सॉफ्टवेयर में होना चाहिए, ये तो अप्रैल 1 से हुआ। तो अभी जो रिपोर्टें बन रही है उसमें हाउ वी विल इंसर्ट पैरा, तो हम लोग ये पैरा इंसर्ट करेंगे सर, ये लैंग्वेज एज प्रोविजन टू रूल 3(1) ऑफ द कंपनीज अकाउंट्स रूल 14 इज एप्लीकेबल फ्रॉम फॉर द कंपनी विथ इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल 2023, रिपोर्टिंग अंडर दिस क्लॉज इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल। इलस्ट्रेटिव रिपोर्टिंग। सर नेक्स्ट ईयर से क्या होगा, नेक्स्ट ईयर से सर इफ इट इज अनमोडिफाइड रिपोर्टिंग देन वी विल से बेस्ड ऑन आवर एग्जामिनेशन विच इंक्लूड्स टेस्ट चेक ऑडिट ट्रेल फीचर इज देयर नॉट टेम्पर प्रिजर्व्ड, जो अपने को देखना था, दैट वी विल रिपोर्ट। और ये सर सीएफएस के लिए भी सेम है। यदि मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन होते हैं सर, मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन 3 टाइप के होते हैं, एक क्वालिफाइड, एक एडवर्स ओपिनियन, और एक और क्या होता है, डिस्क्लेमर ऑफ ओपिनियन सर। सो एवरीबडी इज विथ मी, वेरी एक्सीलेंट सर। सो व्हाट वी विल राइट मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन में, अनमोडिफाइड ओपिनियन वी विल राइट, देन वी विल से एक्सेप्ट द इंस्टेंसेस मेंशन बिलो। सर इंस्टेंसेस क्या क्या हैं वो आप मेंशन कर सकते हैं, यहाँ पे 5 हैं, अपने 5 का डिस्कशन करेंगे। Fixed asset software doesn't have the audit trail. Then how you will write? A sample is there. You can write like this, sir. So fixed asset register that doesn't have the feature of it is maintained manually. Then you will disclose the fact it is maintained manually. You will write कि except for the instances में कि fixed asset register is maintained manually. No problem. Provision is allowed. क्योंकि this is not in accounting software. Manually you whatever you are maintaining everything is allowed. Then one thing is sir, books of accounts I am maintaining in Tally, say, but fixed asset register is maintained manually. So that disclose fact, you disclose the fact, except the instances, you write that fixed asset register is maintained manually. Sir, audit trail feature is not operated effectively throughout the year, somebody were asking. Sir, तब क्या करना पड़ेगा? Sir, you have to disclose it. You have to give adverse report that it is not there. Accounting feature, accounting software is maintained by third party and he has given the access. आपको access दे दिया, आप जाके audit trail verify कर सक रहे हैं. Very good. You can give qualified, unqualified opinion, no problem. But in case he is not giving the access, third party is not giving the access to you, then this disclaimer you can give. Sir, audit trail feature has been preserved. Very good. Give unmodified. Not preserved. Sir, हम टैली से सैप में माइग्रेट किए और टैली का जो 6 महीने का था 1 अप्रैल से लेके से आज तक का, दैट ऑडिट ट्रेल फीचर इज नॉट हियर, सो यू हैव टू डिस्क्लोज, सो यू आर अनेबल टू ऑब्टेन disclaimer of opinion is this is how you will take. Sir, the auditor may come across scenario where occurrence of error or fraud could not be established due to lack of maintenance availability of audit trail. That is there. So you can smell some fraud may be there. That I was saying, deleted entries, 1000 deleted entries. So आपको तो एग्जॉस्टिव ऑडिट एविडेंस गैदर करना पड़ेगा, एग्जॉस्टिव ऑडिट एविडेंस गैदर करना पड़ेगा सर. सो व्हाट दे आर सेइंग, यू हैव टू require application of professional judgment, then what is the magnitude of outcome, all these things, materiality aspect and all this you have to consider. Management representation ठीक है, written writing you are obtaining, documentation. Sir, no accounting entry should be passed today related. This is from the, not from the guidance note or from the sections. This is the practically we are saying. No accounting entry should be passed today reflecting relating to past period, reflecting that it is related to earlier year. So an accounting entry can be relating to past period, can be passed today, reflecting clearly that it is passed today. How you will pass, I will show you. No delete entry should be passed for the reasons. आपको यदि 1000 एंट्री डिलीट करती है, सबका एग्जॉस्टिवली आपको देखना पड़ेगा, आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बढ़ जाएगी. दैट इज वाई वी आर सेइंग, in my opinion, that no delete entry should be passed. Rectification entry should be passed for any mistake. सर ओपनिंग एंट्री का आप बात कर रहे थे, यहाँ पे अपने वही वाली बात है, ऑलरेडी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड. ऑल रेक्टिफिकेशन, क्लोजिंग एंड ओपनिंग एंट्री, चेंज इन क्लोजिंग एंड ओपनिंग एंट्री shall be passed from 1st April to 31st March of the relevant year. सर क्या होगा, हमने लास्ट ईयर का 1st अप्रैल आया, हमने स्प्लिट कंपनी कर दिया. एक इस सिस्टम पे अपने जा सकते हैं, दूसरा हमने स्प्लिट कंपनी नहीं किया. सर कैसे हम करेंगे, ये पीपीटी थोड़ा पुराना वाला आ गया. एनीवे आई विल एक्सप्लेन. फर्स्ट थिंग यू हैव टू बियर इन माइंड कि सिंस द अकाउंट्स इज रिलेटिंग टू अ पर्टिकुलर पीरियड, date of entry can be from 1st April of that financial year to 31st. यदि आप जुलाई 2024 में भी करते हैं सर, 2023 में भी करते हैं सर, और ये एंट्री रिलेटिंग टू अर्लियर ईयर है, चाहे वो रेक्टिफिकेशन एंट्री हो, चाहे वो कोई भी एंट्री हो, तो इट मस्ट बी अप टू 31st March 2023. इज दिस क्लियर टू एवरीबडी? हमको कोई रेक्टिफिकेशन एंट्री पास करनी है आज के दिन में रिलेटिंग टू 22-23 फाइनेंशियल ईयर. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, सबको प्रॉब्लम आएगी. तो आपको वो एंट्री यू कांट पास टुडे. आज के डेट में, आज का डेट दे के यू कांट पास. टू चेंज द अकाउंट्स यू हैव टू कीप द डेट विदिन द फाइनेंशियल ईयर ओनली. यदि फाइनेंशियल ईयर के बीच में यदि कुछ होता है, यदि जून की एंट्री जुलाई, अगस्त, सितंबर में पास करनी पड़ती है, तब तो वो ड्यूरिंग द फाइनेंशियल ईयर एडजस्ट हो जाएगा, वो अकाउंट दूसरे ईयर को इंपैक्ट नहीं करेगा. लेकिन आज हमको पता लगा एनुअल फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट 26 ईयर्स देखने से कि दिसंबर या जनवरी की टीडीएस की एंट्री छूट गई, जो सप्लायर ने ये किया, तो हम क्या करेंगे, वो एंट्री पास करेंगे जनवरी की डेट में. आज के दिन पास नहीं कर सकते. सारा 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 चीज आता है, ठीक है, 1 by 1. तो हम आज के दिन पास नहीं कर सकते हैं. हमको ये एंट्री 31st मार्च के विदिन ही रखना पड़ेगा. दिस इज वन टैली, की बात करें 99.99% की। दिस इज वन। यदि हम आज जुलाई के डेट में यदि पास करेंगे तो ये करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर को इंपैक्ट करेगा। अब हम स्प्लिट कर दिए, 1 अप्रैल को गए स्प्लिट कंपनी करके, नाउ माई फाइनेंशियल देयर एंड हियर। अब क्या होगा, ऑडिट होगा, देन देयर वुड बी सो मेनी चेंजेस इन द ओपनिंग बैलेंस यू वर आस्किंग। उसके लिए वी हैव टू पास ए रेक्टिफिकेशन एंट्री डेटेड 31st March 2023 टुडे। हाउ वी विल पास? सर, दिस इज द बेसिक थिंग वी हैव टू डू। अभी तक हम लोग नहीं कर रहे थे। यूज इफेक्टिव डेट फॉर वॉचर एंट्री, उसको यस करना है सेटिंग में सब चीज का। ये परचेज के लिए ही नहीं है, सारे लेजर का। इसको यस करते ही सर आप जब एंट्री पास करेंगे तो डेट ऑफ वॉचर एंड इफेक्टिव डेट का भी एक ऑप्शन आ जाएगा। तो आपका यदि ये टीडीएस इज रिलेटिंग टू जनवरी 2023, इफेक्टिव डेट यू कैन गिव जनवरी 2023। गेटिंग माई पॉइंट? सर देख ही रहे हैं आप, देखिए यहां पे आप देखिए सर 2 डेट आ रही है। ये डेट ऑफ वॉचर हो गया सर 31st March से, या जनवरी का है तो सर इफेक्टिव डेट भी जनवरी का आ गया। 2 डेट आ रही है सर। ये कैसे आ रही है? हमको सबसे पहले यूज इफेक्टिव डेट फॉर वॉचर को यस करना पड़ेगा। ये करने के बाद में हम अल्टर वॉचर डेट से परचेज का है तो परचेज एंट्री में गए, सारे लेजर का ये के लिए करना पड़ेगा, वो अपने को मॉडिफाई करना पड़ेगा। देन वी विल प्रेस F2। F2 के प्रेस करने से सर ये 2 डेट आ जाएगी। एंड काइंडली कीप दिस डेट विद इन द फाइनेंशियल ईयर ओनली। देन नाउ जुलाई में ड्यू टू से ऑडिट आपको पता लगा कि सारे जो 1 अप्रैल को जो बैलेंस थे, 31st March का बैलेंस बहुत सारे लेजर के चेंज हो गए, उसका भी रेक्टिफिकेशन एंट्री आपको पास करना पड़ेगा ऑन 31st 3 2023। इफेक्टिव डेट you can give that also, and date of voucher would be that only. SAP में सर पीरियड 13 एंट्रीज होती है, उसका अलग ऑप्शंस होता है, वहां से हम लोग एंट्री करते हैं। आप भी जानते हैं, आप कर रहे हैं SAP। बैकडेटेड नहीं, स्पेसिफिक उसमें फीचर होता है पीरियड 13 एंट्रीज, वहां से जितने भी एडजस्टमेंट एंट्री होती है सर वो पास होती है। नाउ सर ये जो डेट है, ये कौन सा डेट है? ये डेट, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। आप किसने वोचर क्रिएट किया, उसका डेट एक जनरेट हो गया। देन किसने अल्टर किया, ये सारे लॉग्स आ रहे हैं सब ट्रांजैक्शंस के। हाउ टू व्यू एडिट लॉग, इसका सर एक वीडियो है, दिस वीडियो इज द लिंक, इसमें जाके आप और फर्दर यू कैन टेक दिस फॉरवर्ड। सर रियल टाइम में अकाउंट्स मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा। अब क्या होगा सर, जुलाई में कैश सैलरी की एंट्रीज यदि करने वाले जो रहते थे और कैश एक्सपेंडिचर वाला, क्या पॉसिबल है? नहीं पॉसिबल है। यदि ऐसा होता था तो सारे कैश और इन्वेंट्री, यू मस्ट बी वेरी केयरफुल कि इन्वेंट्रीज की सारी एंट्री और कैश की सारी एंट्री इट शुड बी ऑन रियल टाइम बेसिस। इस पे तो स्पेसिफिक केयर वी मस्ट टेक, अदरवाइज इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट बाद में ऑडिट ट्रेल तो मांगेगा ही मांगेगा, जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट भी मांगेगा और वहां से सारे लॉग निकल जाएंगे। वो लॉग ही काफी होगा 148 का रीजन टू बिलीव के लिए सर, वो लॉग काफी होगा 148 का रीजन टू बिलीव के लिए, और सारे रिटर्न एसेस किए हुए 148 में रीओपन हो सकते हैं सर। सारे जीएसटी में ऐसा हो सकता है सर। तो वी हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल एंड वी हैव टू एडुकेट आवर क्लाइंट कि भाई इसका तो आपके जो कंपनीज है उसका वॉल्यूम एंड इसके हिसाब से दैट रिक्वायर्स इंटरनल ऑडिट ऑल्सो, मंथली रिव्यू ऑल्सो फ्रॉम आवर एंड। उसके लिए अलग से वी हैव टू हैव सम फीस ऑल्सो फॉर इंटरनल ऑडिट और इन डेप्थ रिव्यू ऑल्सो। सर बोलिए सर। हम्म, हम्म, हम्म,
वैसे में खर्चा का वाउचर है, मैं खर्चा का वाउचर महीने में एक बार
ज़्यादा फ्लक्चुएशन नहीं होना चाहिए। 7 दिन 10 दिन सर, क्या और क्या 7 दिन 10 दिन 15 दिन, आप ज़्यादा फ्लक्चुएशन एक महीना 2 महीना बाद करेंगे, दिस शुड नॉट बी देयर।
दैट इज
So you are that is itself is the evidence। 7 दिन के अंदर मैक्सिमम होना चाहिए। आई थिंक 7 दिन, इवन तो दे आर आस्किंग फॉर रेगुलर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स।
वही तो मुश्किल सर, सब
वो तो प्रॉब्लम है ही है।
हाँ,
तो छोटे
तो
हैं तो
वो-
7 दिन के अंदर कर लें और क्या।
हाँ तो 7 दिन भी हो
आप
सकता
वो
है,
देखिए,
15 दिन भी हो
देखिए
सकता है,
आपको
30 दिन भी हो सकता है।
सर ऐसा है ना, इसका तो आपको भी मालूम है, देयर इज नो सच लॉ। वी हैव टू वेट फॉर कि डिपार्टमेंट इस पे क्या व्यू लेता है, दैट वी हैव टू वेट। अभी तो 7 दिन के हिसाब से करना ही करना चाहिए।
ओके आगे सर, सेकंड खाली जो आप स्प्लिट का बताएं, तो स्प्लिट करने से आएगा तो वहाँ पर स्प्लिट करने से मुझे अकाउंटिंग का डेट भी जो है 31 मार्च नहीं रखा उसको, फिर एक
डेट ऑफ वॉचर इंटे 31 मार्च के
नहीं,
अंदर ही
अगर
रखना
मैं
पड़ेगा।
नहीं स्प्लिट करने के बाद ओपनिंग बैलेंस देता हूँ
हाँ।
तो वहाँ पर मुझे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट को डेट फॉर्म 31 मार्च रखना पड़ेगा। अगर वहाँ पे मैं बुक्स ऑफ ईयर अकाउंटिंग ईयर फॉर्म 1/4/2023 करूँगा तो 31 मार्च का एंट्री वहाँ पर नहीं जाएगा स्प्लिट में ओपनिंग बैलेंस में।
सर यही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, यदि आपको पुराने कंपनी में जाना पड़ेगा, वहाँ पे जाके 31 मार्च की डेट में एंट्री करनी पड़ेगी।
ओके
उसके कारण से ओपनिंग बैलेंस सेकंड नेक्स्ट टैली में आनी पड़ेगी। उसके कारण से आपका क्लोजिंग बैलेंस चेंज हुआ, अब ओपनिंग बैलेंस को भी चेंज करना पड़ेगा नेक्स्ट टैली में।
तो
यदि
ऐसा
आप जाते
अगर
हैं
मैं
तो
पुराने
एक मिनट,
टैली- हाँ।
सबको समझने दीजिए। अब देखिए इम्पैक्ट क्या हो रहा है, मेरे को लगता है एक एग्जाम्पल से अपने समझते हैं। सर आप ये समझें कि जनवरी 2023 का एक टीडीएस का एंट्री छूट गया था। कोई भी एग्जाम्पल ले लीजिए, ऑडिटर ने ऑडिट किया उसके कारण से कुछ भी ले लीजिए, उसका हमको एंट्री करना है। ठीक है, हम कंटिन्यूअस बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स लेते हैं तो क्या होता है, और सेपरेट बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स माने ईयर टू ईयर टैली में 2 कंपनी कर देते हैं तो क्या होता है। सबसे पहले लेते हैं अपने सर कि कंपनी को स्प्लिट कर देते हैं अपने, तब क्या होगा। सर हम पूरा पहली वाले टैली में 22-23 वाली में जाएंगे, एक एंट्री जनवरी की डेट की मारेंगे, नो प्रॉब्लम। सर वो जनवरी की डेट में मारने के कारण क्लोजिंग बैलेंस चेंज हुआ उस टैली में, उसका रेलिवेंट इम्पैक्ट ओपनिंग बैलेंस नेक्स्ट टैली में चेंज हो गया, करना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए अलग से एंट्री उस टैली में जाके मारनी पड़ेगी। और यदि हम लोग स्प्लिट नहीं करते हैं तो केवल अपने को वो एंट्री ही मारनी पड़ेगी, ये नेक्स्ट टैली में जाके जो एंट्री मारनी पड़ती है वो नहीं मारनी पड़ेगी। इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं कि स्प्लिट वाला सिस्टम हम लोग को शायद छोड़ देना चाहिए।
हाँ, या फिर इसमें और एक आइडिया हो सकता है कि पहले 22 तारीख का अकाउंट का फाइनल होने के बाद स्प्लिट किया जाए, तो आपका जो नया अकाउंटिंग पैकेज आएगा स्प्लिट होकर 23-24 का, उसका ओपनिंग बैलेंस एक्यूरेट आ जाएगा। आफ्टर फाइनलाइजेशन अकाउंट्स, मेरा अकाउंट ऑडिट होने के बाद, मेरा क्लोजिंग बैलेंस ठीक होने के बाद मैं स्प्लिट करूँगा उसको, तो मेरा ओपनिंग बैलेंस ठीक आ जाएगा, मुझे चेंज नहीं करना पड़ेगा।
नहीं, आप समझिए बात को। आप फिर अप्रैल की एंट्री, मई की एंट्री कौन सी में मारेंगे?
नहीं, वो कंटिन्यू कर रहा, मैं स्प्लिट नहीं
कंटिन्यू
किया।
कर रहे हैं, स्प्लिट आप बाद में ऑडिट होने के बाद कर रहे हैं।
तो उसमें ओपनिंग बैलेंस चेंज नहीं हुआ मेरा,
ठीक है।
ओपनिंग बैलेंस मैंने कंटिन्यू कर गया,
ठीक है,
और उसमें जो डेट भी आएगा उसमें पता नहीं चलेगा उनको।
ठीक है।
अच्छा सर, खाली और एक चीज़ है कि जो मॉडिफिकेशन का हमको जो ऑडिट देना ही है, तो हमने जो ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में लिखते हैं टू एंड फेयर व्यू, तो अब अभी कोई एंट्री हमको लग रहा है कि कोई एक्सपेंस का एंट्री उसमें 100-200 एंट्री दे दिया, तो कहना फिर हम रिपोर्ट कैसे कर सकते हैं कि वो जो खर्चा इंकॉर्पोरेट किया गया है वो जेन्युइन है अनजेन्युइन है। कल डिपार्टमेंट भी हमको पकड़ेगा,
रीजन टू बिलीव आ जाएगा। अब उसके बाद में आप एक्सप्लेन करते रहिए।
वही तो इश्यू है ना सर।
वर्चुअल हियरिंग होगा, हम एक्सप्लेन करेंगे हम लोग, वो जितना मानेगा मानेगा, वो जो करेगा होगा। क्या सर?
मैं वही है सर, मेन क्या हो रहा है कि अपनों को ऑडिट ट्रायल भी देना पड़ रहा है, खर्चा भी हम कंफर्म कर रहे हैं और टू एंड फेयर व्यू का अकाउंट का रिपोर्ट भी दे रहे हैं।
सो यू आर कॉर्पोरेट, बिहेव लाइक ए कॉर्पोरेट।
तो मैं
so one of the thing is you convert to sole proprietorship or partnership, कर लीजिए। You need not to be stay in the company। ये कंपल्सन तो नहीं कर रहा है ना, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल।
थैंक यू सर।
अब फ्यूचर में LLP पे तो जल्दी आ सकता है, हो सकता है पार्टनरशिप और प्रोप्राइटरशिप भी कर दे। देन वी मस्ट एनालाइज, आई ऑलवेज से कि वी मस्ट एनालाइज कि हमारे कितने क्लाइंट से क्या रेवेन्यू आ रहा है और उस क्लाइंट के हम लोग कितने टाइम दे रहे हैं। तो टाइम इन्वेस्टेड एंड आवर फीस, दैट वी मस्ट एनालाइज। द एफर्ट्स वी आर गिविंग एक्स्ट्रा, देयर शुड बी इंक्रीज इन फीस। और अपने ना बोलने में डरते हैं प्रोबेबली, लेकिन हमको मालूम है, हमें को मालूम है कि 20 साल से हम उनका सब कर रहे हैं। तो वी नो एवरीथिंग अबाउट, वी आर द डॉक्टर्स of the financial health of that person. So if he is capable, so we must try to increase our fees, otherwise we must say no. यदि से 10%, 15%, 20% फीस इंक्रीज होती है, ये 60% क्लाइंट भी करते हैं और 10% जाते भी हैं, तो वो 60% से अपना जो रेवेन्यू इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, that will be compensating, that will be more than that जो चले गए। और जो चले गए उसमें से 80% वापस आपके ही पास आएंगे। ये कॉन्फिडेंस वी मस्ट हैव, क्योंकि दूसरे के पास जाएंगे, ही डजंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट दैट पर्सन, बिकॉज यू आर द फैमिली डॉक्टर ऑफ दैट पर्सन, एंड इफ यू आर, वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग आवर सर्विसेज at a reasonable quality, so they will come back. 80% of them will come back and say to you, अपना के ही करते हुए भाई ये था नहीं करनो परसी, आपको ही करना है, they will say. So with this, thank you everyone. If you have any query, I am here to take. हाँ, IP एड्रेस वाला, ये आपने अच्छा बोला। IP एड्रेस, देखिए मैंने बोला कि ये क्वेरी नहीं आई है, तो ये अभी तक मैंने ट्रैक नहीं किया है इसका। आई हैव टू फर्दर रिसर्च ऑन दिस, लेकिन जितना मेरे को पता है अभी तक ऑडिट ट्रेल में यही हो रहा है। क्या नहीं हो रहा है, मैं बोलना चाह रहा हूँ, क्या नहीं हो रहा है? ये नहीं हो रहा है सर कि हमारे कुछ क्लाइंट्स का अकाउंट्स हम लोग अपने ही सॉफ्टवेयर में बनाते हैं, जिसका टैली का परचेज जो होता है ना, उसी टैली में बनाते हैं जो हमने परचेज की CA के नाम पे हम लोग वी हैड टेकन। सो दैट ऑल्सो कैन बी ट्रैक्ड। सो व्हाट आई एम सजेस्टिंग कि जो थर्ड पार्टी जिसके नाम से आप बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स रेज करते हैं, उसके नाम से यू शुड परचेज वन टैली, क्योंकि पता नहीं किस महीने से ये भी ट्रैकिंग होना शुरू हो जाए, देन ऑडिटर के ही नाम से जो सॉफ्टवेयर है उसमें ही अकाउंट्स मेंटेन हो रहा है, इट विल बी रिफ्लेक्टेड। हो सकता है 2 महीने बाद से हो जाए, एंड वी विल कम टू नो दिस आफ्टर 6 मंथ्स। अभी क्या हो रहा है, अभी जो कंपनी बनी है किस सॉफ्टवेयर में बनी है उसका ट्रैकिंग नहीं हो रहा है, IP एड्रेस का ट्रैकिंग नहीं हो रहा है। जितना मेरे को पता है, मैं आपका जवाब ही दे रहा हूं। अभी केवल उसमें जो ट्रांजैक्शन है उनका हो रहा है, बट वी मस्ट टेक केयर इस बात का। सर क्वेश्चंस आगे ही ले लिए थे मैंने कि वो ड्यूरिंग द ईयर डिलिबरेट हो जाए। ओके, नहीं आएगा वो ठीक है, लेकिन एटलीस्ट आपका एक तो ये रहा ना कि ये इस डेट का है, वाउचर वो नहीं आएगा, लेकिन आपका एक एविडेंस तो गैदर हुआ ना, ये इस डेट के वाउचर का है, इस डेट के वाउचर का है, इसके कारण आपको भी ये फाइल्स में फाइलिंग करने में बहुत सारी सुविधा होगी। वो तो प्रॉब्लम आगे भी थी, अभी भी रहेगी, सेम प्रॉब्लम है, उसमें तो कोई एडिशनल नहीं था, वो करते थे ना, वो तो ठीक है, वो अलग चीज वी शुडंट, क्योंकि वो ट्रांजेक्शन का ये आ जाएगा। विद दिस, thank you everyone for the patient hearing. If you have any query, you can anytime call me. My number is probably with all of you. सर फाइनेंशियल 22-23 में क्या हुआ? सर 22-23 में केवल एक नोट देना पड़ेगा, और सर ये पीपीटी जो है ना, आपने सबने ऑनलाइन रजिस्टर किया है, तो हम क्या करेंगे, आपका ईमेल आईडी वहाँ पे है, उस ईमेल आईडी पे मेल कर देंगे। ऑनलाइन जिनका हुआ उनका तो हो जाएगा, और जिनका ऑनलाइन नहीं हुआ है वो मेरे को अच्छा अपने ये आज कर देंगे, आज आप करवा दूँगा, ठीक है ना? एक सेकेंड, ये सर क्या बोल रहा है सर? बट रूल्स इज एप्लीकेबल फ्रॉम 23 1 अप्रैल, सो दिस क्लॉज इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल फॉर लास्ट ईयर। ये इस बार ये इंसर्ट करना जरूरी है सर। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you, Nitesh ji, for the nice presentation and the vibrant presentation, and which was supplemented by the queries raised by the members. ये queries बहुत सारी है और चलती रहेगी जब तक ये subject चल रहा है. We thank you by clapping to the Nitish sir. Now we have learned speaker Sri Sanjay Bhattacharya ji amongst us. He will be speaking on the income tax return. I request Jyoti Mandal to honor by offering flower bouquet to Sanjay Bhattacharya sir. Sanjay Bhattacharya basically started his career by engineering course and subsequently become chartered accountant. He is chemistry honors and then chartered accountant and advocate. He is 74 years old and is spoken on the length on all the topics of the income tax. We welcome sir. Now sir, Bhattacharya sir will be speaking on the income tax return and the changes in the return.
Good afternoon. My thanks to Views Exchange. The topic that has been allotted to me on the basis of the discussion that I had with Mr. Nitish Moore, that it will be only on the income tax returns. So it should be an interactive session, because I'm sure that whoever is present here had already the experience of filling in the forms in last year or many more past years. So I will touch upon certain issues, and thereafter I think it will be better if anybody has faced any difficulty or anybody wants to get clarified on any of the points which is to be written in the return form, then let it be raised and we can discuss. I am not going to talk on what changes have been made in this form, but at first, some of the basic issues I just want to say. I am not going to say which form is applicable to whom, everybody knows that. I don't want to waste time on that. My additional responsibility that has been cast on me is that Mr. Ramesh Patodia has told that he is held up in High Court, so he would be coming here round about 4:45. So I will be boarding you up to 4:45, be assured about it. Because until and unless he enters the room, I cannot go from here. Whatever it is, everybody knows that the return forms are prescribed under Rule 12. And I can assume, though I am not sure, that everybody has gone through that Rule 12 at least once. Considering that not that everyone has gone through, I want to mention 2 or 3 things about this. There are 7 forms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And also we know which form is applicable for whom. I am raising 2 issues and I want the opinion of the audience here. If one person has got 45 lakh of salaries income and say 3 lakhs of interest income, the total income is 48 lakh. And he has got a house also. Which form should be used? 1, absolutely correct. When one goes through this form number 1, you must have seen that income from house property, here only it is to be written self-occupied. No scope of giving the address also. So some people consider that because we are not allowed to write the address so that the details are not given, why not we should file ITR 2? Can he do that? You have understood what I have told. Can there be any choice of any person who can file ITR 1 because he is not a director, because he does not hold any unlisted share? Can he make a choice that I will file ITR 2? Is there any view of no? So I am considering that everybody is having the view that yes. Now I tell you that if you would have gone through that Rule 12, you would have found why it is no. When this in Rule 12 it is mentioned that which form is applicable to whom, it says this person shall. The word is shall, not may. And when they are telling who can file ITR 2, it says that an individual in whose case ITR 1 is not applicable, he can only file. So you understand that if somebody files ITR 2, though he should have filed ITR 1, there remains a case where his return could be considered as invalid. My advice to all of you, please see yourself what is written in ITR 12, Rule 12. Don't depend upon my voice. Please see. Then comes, now it will be easier for you to give the answer because you have understood what is my view about 1 and 2. If a person is going to declare income on presumptive basis, that means 44 AD or 44 ADA. I am not going for 44 AE, I am just mentioning 44 AD and 44 ADA. And he is not a director, he does not have any foreign asset, no restriction is there. Can he file ITR 3 instead of ITR 4? Here also it is no. Here also it is no. He cannot. When a person declares presumptive income under 44 AD or 44 ADA and he is not restricted by those things that he cannot have foreign assets, he cannot have capital gain or anything else, he can't file ITR 3. He has to file in only ITR 4. So please see yourself in Rule 12 and be ascertained what I have told, then you take your judgment. That means what I want to say, if any particular form is applicable to anyone as per the criteria given in Rule 12, nobody has got any choice to use any other form. Please keep this in mind. Yes? If it is not eligible, if you are not eligible to file that thing, how can you? I am not telling that income tax department has got any problem. As per the rule, if something is been provided, that for this category of person, this is the return. For this category of person, this is the return. How can I make a choice on my own? That is not the question. You are not being asked to do, you are, as per the criteria given in Rule 12, you have to file this return. If it is not applicable to you, then you can go to the other. It is not the question that whether you can do or not. You cannot do. But if you still do and the department does not any stake, that's your good luck. See, giving details to the department which have not been asked for is always a danger. I am telling you, some people, maybe on the advice of the tax practitioners, though they don't have the total income exceeding 50 lakh, they give their assets liabilities details. Why? Because they have the impression that if I give this detail, it will be recorded that I have got these assets. Never give anything which has not been asked of you. This is my view. You may have got a different view, because in Bengali there is a word, hite biporit. You know, thinking that it will be advantageous for me, which will be proved to be disadvantageous for me. Once you give the example that I have given, if I have given this thing, afterwards I find that there were some mistakes. Do I have any scope to change it? Yes. You are thinking of the year subsequent to the year where you have done, isn't it? But what are you thinking of that year where you are declaring that 15 lakh? It may be, but it may become dangerous for you also, that how you have acquired that 15 lakh you will be asked. Then if you agree with that thing, then next year also if you have not declared, then you can always answer. Why you invite a danger to you? These are some advices some of us give, which are against the interest of the assessors concerned. I understand it, but still I say that that type of system that you are thinking that you will save you will not save you, only put you in danger. The requirement is that we should maintain whatever records we have. Of course, 44 AD, 44 ADA, if those are applicable, we can always say that we are not required to maintain accounts. But sometimes we always forget that 44 AD and 44 ADA depend upon the total turnover. So from where I have got this turnover? Is it from my mind only? Income tax department has got the full authority to ask you that how you have shown that 46 lakh is your gross receipts as a professional. If you say, I have not maintained account, but then why 46 lakh? Why not 70 lakhs? There are so many things like that. If I am giving one more example, that how the people get problem without going into the return for 2 minutes. It is because of the advice that we give. Someone asks, sir, I want to show something, but since I am maintaining a profession, I will declare 50%. So I ask him, if I ask him that what will be your gross receipts, he tells that 40 lakh, because those have been deposited in the bank. So I cannot get away with it, so consider this thing. So please declare my profit as 20 lakh. But at that time, is it not required to be thought that he has to show that at least 20 lakh of rupees he has spent for the allowable expenditure? And that danger that concerned tax practitioner, if he doesn't consider, then that assessee will suffer. Similarly, case with the business. 100 rupees has been deposited to my bank, sir, take 100 rupees as my turnover and declare 8%, 8. Within 92 rupees you must have spent. And in 44 AD and 44 ADA, it is not written 8% or 50% only. It is written 8% or higher and 50% or higher. How many of us keep this in mind when we advise the clients? It is not that just taking the shelter of 44 AD and 44 ADA one can run away. One has to think what is practically possible. I am giving you that there, if you go into the details, if somebody tells, sir, whatever monies have been deposited in the bank, that much amount you should consider as my receipts or turnover. But is it not our duty to ask, if it is a professional, that are you ready to say that whatever money have been deposited, at least half of that has been withdrawn and spent for your profession? That is 8 and 6 is, that's a different thing. When we consider, let us consider it. 6 is a special thing if you show that all receipts have come by check. But this is one thing. This is one point where we chartered accountants, all lawyers, whoever is tax practitioner, some of us may not consider it. Just thinking that, okay, you file ITR 4 and declare whatever is there, 8%, 6% or 50% and you get away. No. Nowhere it is stated that the income tax department cannot ask this thing. Because the section says 8% or more and 50% or more. If I declare 50%, that means at least 50% expenses I have incurred. Did I have the capacity? I have not withdrawn from the bank. So from where the money has come? So these are some things we must keep in mind. I am coming to return form. We should at least, if I think that I am a tax practitioner who is not to help in evading the taxes. Let us consider that way. Let us not consider it in the negative way. Then we should ask just 3 minutes before what I have told, we should ask that, okay, it will be 8%, but show me from which source 92% you have spent. And you will see, he will say, yes, I have spent for my family expenditure. Will that be allowable? There are certain duties on the person who is going to give the advice on tax. And it is a duty to see that whatever is being shown, that is practically possible. Something totally not possible if we advise, the client may suffer, and the consequence may be that the tax practitioner will also suffer. So this is a point one should keep in mind. Again, I am telling this 44 AD and 44 ADA, many of us, I am not telling, I am changing the word, not some of us, many of us do not consider this thing. They think whatever are the total receipts, so state 8% or state 50%. No. You must see that there is scope of showing that the balance has been withdrawn and spent for that purpose of business or purpose of the profession. It is like when I started practice, before I started practice, I was a staff somewhere. One sanitary plumber used to come to our house. And one day he came to know that I can prepare return. He told, Dada, please prepare a return for me. So I I thought myself a big person that somebody is asking me to prepare it. I told, Ketna rupaya, how much money? Bola 1 lakh, 1 lakh. But expense? Bola 95,000. Only 5,000. For 5,000 you are working so hard. And what type of expenditure? Well, son's school fees, household fees. I told, I cannot prepare. If that is the impression with someone that whatever money has been withdrawn from the bank, those are only for profession, one has to keep two. There are many things, but 2 things at least. One, that there should be source of explanations, expenses which I am going to claim, and also there should be source from which I have maintained my family. There are hundreds of examples. I can give you one thing because I have to continue till Ramesh comes. That's why I am telling this. Once this type of persons may come to any of our one group of companies, some senior officials came, they told how to save tax. So I asked them, do you want to save tax or evade tax? So that person got angry. But whatever it is, they told the senior officials want a big, it is not under the new rule, about 25 years back I am talking about, that we want to take a big amount of conveyance allowance so that it can be claimed. I checked that person's bank account, I asked for that thing, he brought that. Every salary, each amount of salary was deposited in the bank. And there was very small withdrawals. I told the conveyance allowance that you are going to claim as exempt must have been spent by you, then only you are going to reimburse. Now who has paid you? Every time the rental car, taxi wala, everybody has given you a ride without any charge. See, these are the things the people, some of the persons think. From where that money has been spent, that you have to show. Now let's come to the return matter. Please see in the return there is a query at points that whether maintenance of accounts are required under section 44AA. In the return it is. Now when we are preparing the return, we must go through that 44AA once at least. Without going through that, if I see that there is no accounts maintained or there are accounts maintained, we should not answer this thing. There are certain issues where without having a clear knowledge of what has been required in the return, one should not write. My main intention is, in one of the other meetings, the topic that they have mentioned was beautiful. And I think I should also discuss on this thing. That what should be done while filling the return to avoid any adjustments that may be proposed by the CPC. Because many of you, maybe all of you have seen in your clients' cases that after we file the return, then some communication comes from CPC Bengaluru that these are adjustments proposed under section 143(1) small a. You must have experience. May not be that everybody has experience, but some experience. Usually it used to be there the mismatch between 26As and the income offered. And nowadays whatever are coming mostly are mismatch between the tax audit report amounts and the returns. When one goes through this section 143(1) small a, it will be found out that there certain specific adjustments are made, adjustments are given there, which are called as incorrect claims. And these incorrect claims, they have given a list that which can be considered as incorrect claims. So when you prepare return, if those particular things are taken a special care, I think that helps. The first thing that is written in 143(1) is any arithmetical error. Just consider one thing. When I prepare and upload a return, the CPC Bengaluru or whoever is the income tax authority, do they have anything other than the return form with them? They have. In case of a tax audit report, they have got the copy of the tax audit report. In case of a charitable trust or institution, they have the copy of 10B or 10BB. In case of a company which has claimed deduction under 80IA, they have got the 80IA audit report. Similarly, where there is a case of transfer pricing, they have got the transfer pricing report. So when these machines in CPC, they check for the purpose of processing of the return, they check all those details are with them. Now, arithmetical error, according to me, that cannot be there. Because in the return, what we have seen, that whatever figures we are doing, the totaling are automatically done. So how can there be any arithmetical mistake? I don't think that there is a possibility of any arithmetical mistake. The second one, any incorrect claim. And what can be it? Number one, incorrect claim, they have defined that if there is any amount that has been considered as income in the return and it is inconsistent with some details, other details given in the return. So we have to think of what? That whatever details we have already given in the return, is there any scope of cross-checking? In case of ITR 3, 4, 5, 6, we give the profit and loss account balance sheet. Just consider in the profit and loss account that I have given, there is an item provision for bad debts. In the other information, if I don't write that, it will be caught. Because there it will be a mismatch between two figures appearing. Provision for gratuity. In other info, you are all aware why other information I am telling, because without filling in other information, can you go to the schedule of business or profession? You cannot. Though it is written, it used to be written, I don't know whether now they write that other information, that schedule is to be written by only that assessee who is under tax audit. But without writing in the other information, nobody can fill in the business profession. So we write first other information. In the other information, if there is a provision for gratuity, and we don't write that provision for gratuity in that other information, there are some exceptions for this particular thing, but if no disallowance is made under 40A7, that will be also mismatch on the basis of certain figures appearing in the return. This is also inconsistency. Like this, there are some. Again, I am telling, in the tax audit report, because let us consider the return that is being processed, it is there is a tax audit report. There is a particular query under serial number 21 that whether there is any amount disallowable under 40 clause A. 40 clause A relates to defaults in TDS. The tax auditor has written nil. In serial number 34, the entire details of TDS are to be given. If there is any default coming, but it is not shown in 40 A, 40 small a, that is also inconsistency. So, what I want to say, be it tax audit report or a return form, one should always see whether certain details which are being given at one place are also given in some other place or required to be given in some other place. Then it is incorrect claim, as written in section 143(1)(a), unless it is clearly shown that there is an inconsistency on the basis of some details given in the return or tax audit report or anything else, there cannot be any adjustment made by the CPC. Then claim of brought forward loss. I will give you an example. We are going to file the 2023-24 return. And as tax practitioner, I have asked for the 2022-23 return. Therefore, I have found out these are the losses and unobserved depreciation to be carried forward, maybe for 5 or 6 years. Do I always check whether for the second earlier year or third earlier year there had been an assessment made, or there had been something, by way of intimation, some adjustment made by which the carried forward losses has been reduced? Do we check every time? But the department, the machines have got these figures. So if in 23-24 I have written for 2021 2 crores of business loss are being carried forward, which is being adjusted, maybe set off this year, but it is found out that there had been an assessment made where that 2 crore had been reduced to 1 crore, and which was not been appealed against. If that would have been appealed against, of course, that means the assessee had not accepted that thing. But if it had not been appealed against, that means it had been accepted. So it was the duty that in the subsequent year, that type of carried forward loss should not be there. This is also one of the, here it is specifically mentioned. In the list of incorrect claims, they have mentioned the claim of brought forward loss where in the earlier years return filed. Then, chapter 6A deduction, then deduction under 10AA, if there be any wrong claim made. Usually we don't get a chance to make a wrong claim there. Because whenever we write for 80D or 80TTA, 80TTB or 80C, it is automatically more than 1,50,000 it will not go, or more than 50,000 it will not go. But, and there is no scope, this is my view, there is no scope of finding any related disclosure made in the return. So there should not appear any mistake like that. Then it was written mismatch with 26As. Friends, here also I must bring to your kind attention, if you are not aware, there used to be this type of proposed adjustment on the basis of the form number 26As. That there it is shown as 15 lakh of rupees have been credited to you, but in your return of income you have shown 12 lakh. Maybe it is a correct reason, because I am following cash system of accounting. That deduction has been made by a company which has gone on accrual basis. All these things are there. Considering this thing, Government of India has amended this act. I am not sure whether everybody is aware of it. In section 143(1)(a), it has been specifically amended by inserting that with effect from assessment year 2018-19, no adjustment can be made under 143(1)(a) just on the basis of form number 26As. If somebody receives any intimation or communication for this thing, please refer to this. That in section 143(1)(a), it has been specifically stated that it cannot be done just on the basis of 26As. In the return, there are many things. I am asking you one thing. If you go through ITR 3 or even ITR 2, which particular head in the return, according to you, takes maximum space in the return form? You must have filled in lots of return. So anyone should come up with the answer. There are 5 heads. Which head takes most of the space in the form? It is capital gain. It is capital gain. Of course, if we don't consider depreciation as a part of that business schedule. In the capital gains, short term, long term, both are there. There are 8 or 7 categories. One has to be 100% careful in writing against what asset he is writing. Every time I get myself confused. You must have seen land building, then shares, all other things are there. And at the last, if anything is not included in item number 1, 2, 7, that 8. So please be careful in writing which is being written, which against which particular query one is giving the answer. And also in regard to capital gains, you must have seen that for immovable properties sale, thereafter in the capital gain schedule itself, there is a separate space where the details of the deductions claimed are to be given. So one should be very careful about it. So before preparing return, those details should be kept handy. like that whether new construction has been made or whether monies have been deposited with the bank. All these things are there to be done. If only at the time of online filling in of the form we try to find it, unnecessarily 3 to 4 hours will be taken for one return. And also this is a fact, and I am sure that everybody does that. This should be a practice of every tax practitioner, that before sitting for filling in the form online, the computation should be prepared and kept on your left side or right side. Without that thing, if you proceed, there is every possibility of committing mistake. And also I say that the computation that one should make should be made in the same format as in the return. That helps a lot. Then you don't have to see here and there. If you consider that, like I am telling you, the profits and gains of business or profession. That is the maximum thing that we have to write. That in the other information, details are specifically asked. In the profit and schedule for profit and schedule for profits and gains from business or profession, the figures from Y schedule comes directly there. But there are certain other clauses. Any addition to be made other than this, and also any other deduction. There is only one space left. So better prepare those details in front of you, because in the return there is no place to write, but the total is to be written. And if it's a big sum, you can be 100% sure that you will be asked to give the details. So it is always better to write there. And for other things, for only in relation to the filling in of return, I don't have anything to say extra unless any one of you raises any point in this regard. Because I think that filling in of return is only a process that we have to do, but firstly this computation has to be made only after we have, whoever is doing, have the proper knowledge of understanding that which place what should be written. So, and since we have still some time, at least half an hour, I would request you to raise question so that we can wait up to Ramesh. Though Ramesh told me, sir, if I am late, you start with tax audit. I told no, I don't want to go on your subject. But I am telling you, anything regarding return, or if you consider anything, since Ramesh has asked me to do it, you can raise any point that may be in your mind in the when you are going to fill in the return, or if you consider that something is there that you can you may ask for clarification as regards the tax audit form. There are changes, but those are not very important. I have not found anything which is very important. When you open the return form, I don't think that there will be any problem in that way.
Transaction, say sale of immovable property, say more than 50 lakh of rupees, but client doesn't know.
The very first thing that I will say, though I have not mentioned here, that before we start making the computation, I think it is required of the tax practitioner to check 26AS. Although 26AS is all in AIS, this AIS and both the parts. You know that under AIS there are two parts, TIS and AIS. And in AIS you get all the details of 26AS, and nowadays you must have noticed that from assessment year 23-24, the payment of taxes are no more appearing in that. I don't know whether it has been done intentionally or unintentionally. The details of payment of taxes are not appearing in 26AS, but only in IAS, AIS you will get. Of course, that AIS, TIS, on that basis only that machine at CPC will make the inquiries. So before preparing the computation for the purpose of return, one has to go through it. If immovable property is shown there, and the assessee who has come, he has not told, then very first thing that the tax practitioner should say, he does not know that he has sold a house. What you are telling, you know what you are telling. He does not know that he has sold a house. How can you say? Do you want to say, though he has not sold, but it is still coming there? Then you have to object to that. There are, I have not done, but there are scopes given, options given. And that's a duty, I think, that if there are some information given in AIS or TIS which according to you it is not correct, immediately you have to write. But without considering this TIS and AIS, I think preparation of computation for the purpose of return is very risky. Sometimes it happens that whatever details are there, those may not tally with the details that I have got. The bank has given a certificate, but there it is coming differently. There we have to judge which should be given. What I do, everybody does that. That wherever the amounts of incomes are higher, that we declare, without fail. But in AIS, not TIS, in AIS you must have noticed that sometimes some figures are written twice. So be careful about that. Yes, but there is no reason for that. But they write it twice. So be careful about it. I think, this is my my experience, the figures that are appearing in TIS, actually we should follow those. Whatever are coming, they are writing from where they have got the details, because all these details are available. In AIS there are 4 or 5 options given. From there you can understand which has come in through SFT. And you see, if the concerned assessee finds there is a mistake, then he should be advised to object. Otherwise, that means he is accepting that. Yes.
Problem. Suppose once share price, opening price was 10 rupees, okay, and it's gone to the 13 rupees. I have sold in 12 rupees, and then in the second day, the share is transferred from my DP account, and at that time the share price was 11 rupees, and in the AIS they are taking the figure of second day when the figure is from the share is transferred from DP account. But I have sold the share in my 30 rupees. When I am looking at the BIC exchange, my forfeit is, my share price is 30 lakhs. When the AI is giving, my share price is 25 lakhs. And it may be reverse side also.
Now, have you checked that whether there is any option of protesting or objecting to that?
Option is there. Suppose I have the 100 items, so I have to give 100 items, I disagree. Why I am telling this, that when we are making the association, we are making this FCP hour, that one representative should go with our association to rectify that they should give the information from the exchange.
Do you think that these representations have got any value?
So one should start this. Otherwise, one should give the 500 item, this is rectified, my actual figure is this, and this is wrong.
You can send representation, but my experience for last 40 years, those directly go to the waste paper basket.
From the view exchange, from the association, from the ICI, I am telling that one.
You see, from an association, that views exchange authorities, whoever are there, they can decide. Now I understand it. Then you should write to the office bearers of views exchange, giving your problem, and then I am sure that views exchange will take necessary action for that. I only can, because I am a guest speaker here. I am not in the body, so it can be. So he is here. So you write. See, if you want to make a complaint or if you want to make a representation, write it in clear terms. Otherwise, like in our bank audit, we were told that if you want to write anything, you have to write it fully. Don't write it in general, I have found out. So if you can write, I am sure that Views Exchange being a very important organization, it can send it. You can see. But I would also suggest that you make an objection there and you write in the grievance also. But you have to be very careful in writing it in the correct way. Yes, specifying what is the problem. It may be, I also understand that there may be, whether they are capable of doing the correct calculation, but if the information itself is wrong, if the information as he has told, then there will be problem, it has to be objected to. But I saw that for one particular person's details, that they have given that item wise, what is long term, what is short term, like that thing. And it's a big list. If there are many transactions, it's a big list. And now, whether a chartered accountant or a lawyer will have time to check every transaction, it is very difficult. Very difficult. I have seen that. Any other point regarding return or tax audit? Anything or anything relating to income tax you can raise? That's very good that nobody has got any point, no issue. Till yesterday also, I have not got any information that there is any revision in the tax audit report. So I can't say. So if today I have to sign a tax audit report, it will be the form that we had done last year. No revision, at least up to yesterday evening, I can say. And it can come at any time if they want to get it revised. It can come at any time. Before the due date of filing of return. But if you have already filed the return, you can always file a revised return. There is no doubt about it. But I think that I don't remember the language it is written. Whether it is due date of filing of return or before filing of the return. If it is before filing, then your chance is gone. No, I am not telling return, that return will be processed. You can attempt a revised return after filing that thing. You want to go to new regime, or you have been in new regime. Assessment, you are talking for assessment year 23-24. That means, because nowadays that old regime, new regime has got different concept. Please keep that in mind. For assessment year 23-24, your exercising is option for new regime only. But from 24-25, the option will be for old regime. So you are talking for 23-24. But as far as my knowledge goes, after you file the return, you can't change it. After you file the return, you can't change it. Because you have already filed. How can you now exercise the option? You filed the return when? But you were aware of the provisions? No, you were aware of the provisions? Why didn't you exercise your option? You don't have any answer. I am telling you, Who told you to file the return without exercising the option? Nobody told. Then why last year it was not there? Then last year how one has exercised for the new regime? No, I don't think you are correct.
You are not
For ITR 4 this is a business.
if ITR 4 is there, then you can file a revised return now.
But I have got doubt whether after filing of the return you can file the option. This I have got doubt. Revised return, but once you have filed the return, can you exercise option for that year? This is my point. I think it cannot be done because there is a provision that once you have done something, you cannot do that for that assessment year. This is for everyone. Now, if my filing of return means that I have already taken decision that I will be as per the old one. Thereafter, how can I file it? So, I don't think that he will be allowed to file the revised return on the basis of this. You can check it up. But what I am thinking, that a person files a return, that means he has already exercised the option of remaining with the old or getting new. Then how can he again file a form? Correct. Revised return you can file, not as per the new regime. You can't. This is also my view, that once you have filed a return, that means you have already taken a decision that I will go by old regime. Then you cannot change it for this year. This is a specific provision in the Act. For subsequent years you can change. If you have got business, then once you get, if you don't have any business, you can do it every year change. If my mind goes like that thing. Revised return one can file up to 31st of December, but not on the basis of this thing. Because when you have filed the return, you must have, there was a question where you had to write that whether you are under 115 BAC or not. So there you must have written that no. There are several laws, several sections. You cannot ignore one section and go to the other section. When in a particular section it is written that you cannot change whether to old or new once you have already exercised. He has filed a return. That means he has already done. Don't consider this revised return. I am telling about this 115 BSc. 115 BSc cannot be done after filing of the return. You can try it, but according to me, as per the law, it will be ignored. As per the law, it will be ignored, because since there is a specific provision that you are not allowed. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Revision of return is something else. But revision of return on the basis of a change of option, I don't think it is possible. Yes, it is written that once you have done it, you cannot change it this year. In section 115 BSc itself. There can be revision for so many reasons. Why should they close it? Revision may be because of some figures. But what I am telling, the revision of revised return, you cannot take another option. You cannot change from that thing. There is no reason for fighting with me on this thing. You please see the book. He can make an attempt. If it is done, done. Anything else? Yes, sir. Demand.
1890, and it was not paid for so many years. And after certain period, client paid the demand also manually through a challan. Thereafter, for the assessment year 22-23, there was a refund. But while making the refund, that demand was accepted. So now there is double payment. Client made the payment through manual challan also, and now this deduction is also there. Now this refund cannot be claimed. My client tried to do with several things, but there is no option given for the earlier assessment year as well as for the new year. Then how can he claim the refund?
See, I would only say that for the later year, since the demand had been, the adjustment was done, that was the wrong adjustment.
Yes.
And if 4 years period are there, you file that rectification petition, you cannot file rectification petition, only that option has to be exercised. And if you don't get any result, then write in the grievance.
But 154 option is not available yet.
Why? 4 years had passed.
No, only 24-23.
Then
4 years this 154 is not allowing. It's not allowing for option is not.
No, I couldn't follow that. If when that intimation has come, and intimation there are scope for rectifying that rectification is not being allowed.
That rectification is not being allowed.
But rectification, there are 3 options only given. If I remember correctly, one is mismatch of TDS, another is reprocessing, and third is change of data.
So I am not changing anything. Only thing is my
You have to write for the reprocessing. Though you can be 100% sure that it will not be done, then the next course will be after you get the rejection letter, file an appeal. And at the same time, in the grievance, you should write this. See, rectification from CPC, I have not, till today, I have not seen anyone, except maybe 1 or 2 I have seen, which was a clear-cut mistake. So everywhere we always say that when you get that rejection letter, file an appeal against that. At least that appeal will be heard, at least one direction will come. But at the same time, this type of mistake, you should put in the grievance, giving the full details. और कुछ है? If there be any issue on income tax, whether which is charitable trust or not, you can raise it, because I cannot leave till Ramesh comes. If you have got any issue on income tax, you can raise it.
Instead of giving in case of company actually, so that concessional rate of tax is applicable, but they have charged full rate of 30%.
115 BVA application had been filed.
It is being availed for last 2-3 years. This time they have not allowed it. What can be the problem with this?
No, there cannot be any reason. That's a mistake. Just now I was telling that I have not found any case rectified, but 2 cases I have got. These are the same cases. They have rectified.
So I should go for the process.
Yes. Because you see, in the intimation, you just see in the intimation whether at the top, where it starts, they have written that option has been exercised or not. In those cases, it was written yes, but they didn't allow it. But you check up whether in your case.
It is yes, I have given the earlier acknowledgement number also.
Yes, it was required in the return also, you had to give.
It was required, it has been excited earlier. And what was the acknowledgement number? That is also given.
10IC.
10IC.
Yeah.
Still.
I think you will get the rectification. If you don't get rectification, then you file an appeal.
File a rectification with the department. They are saying that we cannot do anything in case of something.
Here nobody can do anything. Until and unless the rectification right is given to the jurisdiction assessing officer, they won't touch. But the problem is that these faceless systems have been implemented only for 3 matters: assessment, appeals and penalties. They have not yet implemented this for rectifications. Until that is done, we cannot file rectification petitions also. But one thing let me tell you, this is, I should say, circular way that you can go. If you go to that pending works, where we find proceeding, there is also one demand outstanding. Go to that.
Then I guess that will.
I'm telling you, I have done that.
Most outstanding.
In the outstanding demands, if you go and you write, there are various options given for what this money has not been paid. Go to the others. And if you write a others, then you get scope of writing 5 or 6 lines. Avail of that.
Will they take any action on that?
But you can make a
It will just get in abeyance. The demand may be kept in abeyance because of demand. But
See-
I don't think they will do anything for that.
But you have to make an attempt, na? Because if you show that you are not paying it, you have to make an objection somewhere. If you don't object, that means you are accepting it. So firstly, you should file a rectification, that reprocessing, that should be clicked. Because you are not changing any data. Reprocessing you should click and go to that outstanding demand, because since they have not applied the 22% of tax, there must be some demand raised. Unless there is a demand raised, you cannot take help of that. Then you take that help. And that will also help when the department will ask you, the jurisdiction assessing officer will write to you that demand is unpaid. You can say that this has already been asked. So these 2 things, according to me, should be tried to.
And if in reprocessing it is not rectified, then I can go for appeal.
You can be 100% sure they will not. But in my two of my cases, they have done.
They have done.
They have done.
Similar.
Yes, they have done. It was a cooperative case. I am telling you, it was Tomluk Ghatar Central Cooperative Bank Limited. They filed at 115 BAD, if I remember correctly, for assessment year 21-22 and 2021 or 21-22. And they applied the normal rate, 30% rate. But they got it changed. Because that's a clear-cut mistake. But at the same time, you please try that outstanding demand also, so that you can
There also I
write,
should mention it.
because otherwise you won't be able to write anything.
If recovery proceeding is there, there will not be any defense for me.
The only requirement is that there must be some outstanding demand, otherwise you don't get the option. Like this 139 return, updated return. One person came to me who had the idea that 31st March is the last day. I told no, it is 31st December. So he told me, sir, what to do now? I told, let me attempt. I made an attempt, then I saw that I was not allowed. Because there was 65,000 rupee refund. And 139.88 cannot be done unless there is any demand. So he asked me what to do now. I told there is one option, but how much you will be successful like that, I can't know. He asked me what? Well, you have to apply to the commissioner. 119.2B, giving the reason. And if he condones the delay, then you will be allowed to file the return. Because that option is there. But it's very difficult to get that. You can understand.
Sir, I have a query, sir. Sir, of late, the Indian investors, individuals, they can buy shares of a foreign listed company also through some fund managers. Like I have a client who bought some shares in Indian rupees through some investors of Facebook, Tesla, Amazon. He bought the shares. So those shares are not in his demat account. Those shares are in some other foreign body. So does those shares have to be disclosed as foreign assets in the ITR?
Asset is a foreign asset. Is there any doubt?
No, it is no doubt.
You
But it is not in his demat account.
But you see, he is owning foreign asset.
But not in his name. He only paid through some intermediary.
Ultimately, the assets, if those assets are sold out, then the money will come to him only. So it is better that he should declare.
Immediately.
Yes, yes. And keep in mind that maybe the return form will be changed for that.
Beneficial owner.
This return form, because if one has got a foreign asset, if it would have been in ITR 1, it will not be ITR 1, it will have to be ITR 2 only.
Yes, the form will
If it would be in ITR 4, then it would be, it has to be in ITR 3. So better take that also into consideration.
Thank you.
Yes.
सर कोऑपरेटिव में प्राइमरी एग्रीकल्चर कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी है पैक्स, तो उसका रिटर्न तो आप विद इन ड्यू डेट में करना पड़ेगा अगर प्रॉफिटेबल है और एटीपी में छूट लेना चाहता है तो।
ATP for getting deduction under ATP, the compulsion is that return has to be filed within the due date.
और अगर लॉस रहता है तो तब तो एटीपी का
ATP क्या मिलेगा आपको?
हाँ तो एटीपी जरूरत नहीं,
लॉस तो है।
हाँ लॉस तो आपको दिसंबर
लॉस तो कैरी फॉरवर्ड नहीं होगा।
नहीं लॉस कैरी फॉरवर्ड नहीं, रिटर्न तो सबमिट हो जाएगा,
लेकिन आपको लॉस तो नहीं मिलेगा।
लॉस नहीं मिलेगा, लेकिन रिटर्न सबमिट नहीं होने से क्या हो रहा है, लास्ट बैक ईयर का इनकम से चिट्ठी आ रहा है, उन लोग का टर्नओवर बैंक से ही सब कुछ रिफ्लेक्ट हो जा रहा है, या नॉन फाइलिंग ऑफ इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न करके चिट्ठी आ रहा है।
देखिए कहीं नहीं फाइल कर रहे, ऑडिट नहीं हुआ।
ऑडिट नहीं हुआ था, गवर्नमेंट ऑडिटर ऑडिट करता है, वो एक चक्कर था, फिर लोग माइंडसेट था कि अपने को रिक्वायरमेंट ही नहीं है, एक्चुअली रिक्वायरमेंट तो है उसको। और सर और एक क्वेश्चन था एम्प्लॉइज के जो
एक चीज आप जो बोल रहे हैं, if they have got a loss, they don't care for carrying forward those loss.
No, वो फाइलिंग नहीं करते, जिन्होंने प्रॉफिट है वो भी फाइलिंग नहीं करते, जो प्रॉफिट में है सर वो भी फाइल नहीं कर रहे, उनको वही माइंडसेट है कि हाँ
so कोई TDS नहीं होता उनको on their income, there is no TDS by the payers.
बहुत कम रहता है एक्चुअली, जो पैडी जो प्रोक्योरमेंट करता है पैडी का, उसके ऊपर कुछ TDS करता है, तो वो भी इतना ज्यादा नहीं है। उस अभी लास्ट ये आफ्टर डिमोनेटाइजेशन ऑफ कैश के बाद से चिट्ठी सब आ रहा है, असेसमेंट 18-19 का मैक्सिमम 40-50 कोऑपरेटिव को चिट्ठी आया हुआ है कि नॉन फाइलिंग ऑफ इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न।
But what is the problem in filing the return? That I have not understood.
Their mindset is कि अपने को ऐसे ही छूट है, their mindset is कि अपने को फाइल पर लगता ही नहीं है टैक्स,
कहाँ पर लिखा है?
वही बोल रहा हूँ, their mindset is
no, it is not that.
Not that.
But filing of a return should have been done. That much I can say.
और सर और एक क्वेश्चन था, ये बहुत सारे देखिए स्कूल में जो एम्प्लॉइज क्रेडिट वो रहता है ना, अपने जो टीचर लोग अपने बनाते हैं एम्प्लॉइज का,
अपना बनाता है।
हाँ, वो तो पैन नंबर तो लेके अभी बैंक में उनको अपना जो भी रुपया है बैंक में डिपॉजिट करके रखे हैं, तो उसमें भी तो उनका पैन नंबर से ईओपी हिसाब से उसको ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, उन लोग को तो उन लोग का जो भी प्रॉफिट होता है ऑडिट तो करवाते हैं, उसमें तो टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा, उसमें तो कोई छूट नहीं होगा।
It is not a recognized provident fund. It is an ordinary association of persons. So it is required to file return if it has got taxable income.
नहीं कोई छूट नहीं ना, उस पर टैक्सेबल लगेगा, टैक्स लगेगा।
कोई छूट नहीं है।
टैक्स नहीं, वही बोल रहे हैं।
छूट उसी को खाली है जो recognized provident fund है। Otherwise there is no exemption. Because that is only a common body that some persons have made and a fund. So any interest coming on that has to be taxed. Because you see, there may be a claim that it is a mutual society. I am just telling. Here only the members are putting their monies. But are they putting their monies in their own pockets, or they are putting that in bank or somewhere else to earn the income, interest? But there is a third party involved. So it will not be exempt as mutual society. Otherwise it could have been claimed as mutual society. But if there is any income, any involvement of a third party, the return must be filed in the capacity of AOP. And when you write the AOP, how many members are there in that? You see, in ITR 5 you must have seen that you have to give the details of the shares. If you don't give, MMR will be applied. That means 30% tax will be applied. Otherwise for AOP the rates are similar to individuals. If the total amount is less than 2,50,000 in a year, then there is no requirement. Total income I am talking about. Because the members, what they are putting, that is not an income. But total income, if you see that it is more than 2,50,000, then a return should be filed. Yes.
Education institution and hospital.
1023 6A. Which one you are talking? 6A.
1023.
There are 6 clauses here.
Education institution and hospital, if their gross receipts is less than 5 crores, whether they are mandatory to file the return.
Nowadays, it is mandatory. 139(4)(c) requires the filing of a return.
Sir, what is the gross receipts? It includes government grant?
Everything. It is getting government grants. But is the government grants more than 50%? Is the government grants more than 50% of the total receipts? No, maybe you will not do. You know that there are 3 categories. There will be 3 categories. Under section 1023C, there are 3 categories for hospitals, for 3 categories for educational institutions. First category where it is substantially financed by the government. What is substantially financed? The gross receipts of the year. If more than 50% comes from the government, then total income is exempt. Number 2, if the gross receipts is less than 5 crore, then also nowadays it is exempt. And the third one is the gross receipts are more than 5 crore, then you have to take an approval. That is 1023(6) and 6A. And what I have just now told, there are 3AD, 3AB, 3ABC, 3BC and 3AD. But the return filing has now been made compulsory for all. Yes. And if a non-filing of return may result in, I think it is 100 rupees or 200 rupees per day. You can imagine what will happen if the due date had been 31st of October because of compulsion of audit, then starts from 1st of November till the date it is filed. Because there is no 234A or 234B or 234C. There it comes under 272 capital A. There are certain specific provisions for imposing penalties. One of them is this: if that organization is required to file return under 139(4)A or 4C, then per day penalty will be imposed. Yes.
बिजनेस इनकम है तो बेसिकली सर क्या उनका हाउस प्रॉपर्टी इनकम जो उसमें उन्होंने डिडक्शन ले लिया 30% का, बट सर बिजनेस इनकम में वो हाउस प्रॉपर्टी इनकम को लेस करना भूल गए, बिकॉज वी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम बेसिकली प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स, तो उन्होंने लेस नहीं किया, तो गवर्नमेंट ने कंसिडर नहीं किया और रिफंड में उस पोर्शन पे जो टैक्स बनता था उसे एडजस्ट कर दिया। तो सर रेक्टिफिकेशन में ये प्रोसेस नहीं हो पाया, मतलब वो सेम एरर है, तो उसको सर क्या सोल्यूशन है?
रेक्टिफिकेशन तो कोई नहीं है ना, नो मिस्टेक तो आपको नहीं है, आप तो रिवाइज रिटर्न करने में ही एक तो बचता था, बट देयर यू हैव नॉट डन, एंड द CPC will say there is no mistake because it is on the basis of your return only we have done. You can, if the amount is big, you can apply to the Commission of Income Tax under 119(2)(b to allow you to file a revised return. Now the point is this thing, the department has done only through intimation or it is assessment made. 143(1). 143(1) ही होगा,
इंटीमेशन नहीं होगा।
नहीं आपको कौन बरस को है, तब तो टाइम चला गया आपको, नहीं तो 22, 23 उसको भी टाइम चला गया, because you could have filed a revised return. So you can, depending upon the amount involved, you can apply to the Commission of Income Tax for permitting you to file a revised return. And if you get it, it depends upon the money involved. If you say that 20,000 or 25 or 30,000, then don't go for it. You will be spending that much money.
Sir, I have one query, sir.
Huh?
One of my client has forget to file 10B
and trust assessment has been done without taking exempted trust. Now what is the way out?
कौन assessment year को ली?
21, 22.
Which was not at all filed or it
Not
was
at all
filed?
because he could not file. The system was showing error. He has also made the complaint. In the meantime, chartered accountant also expired.
See, the only option available to you is to apply before the commissioner 119 to be. He has been permitted to allow 365 days. But मेरा ख्याल से तो आप 21, 22 जब बोल रहे हैं तो 365 days भी चला गया. वो जो ऑडिटर था वो मर गया.
चेंज था आरएम चेंज.
अच्छा नहीं वो ऑडिटर जिंदा होते जैसे हम बोल देते वो डेट में आप 10B एक तो बना के रखिए मैनुअल में.
मैंने तो बना हुआ उनका.
Then you can write that it was done, giving the full details that it was not uploaded because of this thing. Maybe it will be looked into.
Even the grievance was also uploaded in the site, but subsequently he was sick and he could not upload it.
नहीं ये तो mistake तो आप ही को है ना. Mistake is the SSC. So how can there be any grievance? Grievance will come only when the department is not doing something.
Grievance because the system is not working. The auditor has made the grievance that the system is not working. I am unable to upload 10B.
But they allowed
But
you
at
time
that
up to
yes.
15th February of
Yes,
2022.
Yes, sir, that is right, sir. But he was
So it is better that you can give 2 or 3 reasons like that thing and make an application with the CIT exemption because since you are telling 10B, it must be under the CIT exemption. And see the result. Otherwise, there is no other way.
And I filed the appeal, but appeal will not stay.
Appeal will not give you any relief. How can they give you relief? Because there is no mistake done.
No mistake. No
If
order.
you have not uploaded 10B, you are not to be given any exemption.
Any exemption as a trust.
तो आपको वो करना चाहिए ना. आप अपील फाइल किया है तो देखिए अपील को हियरिंग को आगे आप इसको निकाल नहीं सकता
वो
है.
भी किया है सर, वो भी किया तो बोला 365 डेज हो गया सीबीडीटी कोर्ट में.
সিবিডিটি করবে ওর মধ্যে আছে ওই সার্কুলার যে আছে उस সার্কুলারের মধ্যে লেখা আছে 365 तो ऐसा ही करेगा. मोर देन 365 को डेज आल्सो देयर इज ए प्रोविजन इन दैट सर्कुलर इटसेल्फ. अब वो देख लीजिए.
365 ऊपर हो गया तो बोला आई कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग. मामा के फॉरवर्ड करते हो.
अब वो सर्कुलर आई डोंट रिमेम्बर दैट सर्कुलर दैट इज प्लीज गो थ्रू दैट सर्कुलर. In this first paragraph it is written that, but second paragraph it is written if it is beyond 365 days what is to be done. It is there, you will find there. And if it is stated that it is not delegated to the CIT exemption, then you have to apply to the CBDT. करना चाहिए.
One of the case, there was a demand raised for 40 years back. Although the payment was made, but there is no challan available as of now. Say for the year 2004-5, there was a demand as per the assessment order. The SSC made the payment also, but it was paid sometime in 2005 or 6, sometime in that. Now the as of today, the demand can be seen that so much amount is payable. Now the challan is not payable.
Oh.
Now the client also wants to make the payment also, but let's say the payment is only of 1 lakh, but as of now if making the payment, then the interest is 3 lakhs. So whether this principal amount and the interest both have to be paid or what?
Unless you pay up to date interest, you cannot pay.
Can he go to the CIT and
You can because you see. But you don't have the challan, na? That is the great problem. You don't have any evidence, na? Or your verbal thing, how
the thing is, for last so many years, there was no demand as such. It was raised only 1 or 2 years back.
Still, you can approach the commissioner because you see, the commissioners are given so much power. They can utilize if they want.
They are hardly exercising the power.
Huh?
They are not exercising the power.
But at least you can make an attempt. नहीं तो ये तो चलेगा ना जितना रिफंड उनको बाद में आएगा उसको सबसे एडजस्ट करके चलेगा. That is the practice ना. They don't, if they don't give the refund, but if there be any demand, state will adjust to it.
But there should be a time limit for raising the demand also. After 20 years, after 15 years, after 25 years.
Government dues never become time barred.
गवर्नमेंट रिफंड becomes time barred sir. आपने रिफंड किलो ना बोलो कि इंटीमेट सही करे डॉक्यूमेंट आ जाए एक्नॉलेजमेंट स्लिप. That is why the refund was rejected.
सुनिए एक चीज मेरा प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है लेकिन हम सुना है दैट्स व्हाई आई एम शेयरिंग विद यू देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड सीपी ग्राम and I have heard for at least 5 or 6% that whatever problems be there with any of the ministries including finance ministry that if it is put after taking recourse of the available processes, that means first you write to the assessing officer, thereafter to the commissioner, wait for 3 months and give these details. They have told that within 15 days from the ministry directions comes that show the case. So please take the case, not your case, I am talking about his case.
I have used that case, I have used CP-gram in many cases, and in the case of CP-gram, when I use this one, within 10 days I get a call from my O. You come to me, you provide me over here, because it's coming from the ministry to CIT and CIT to so now it's, they are asking what needs to be done. So it's very effective, and in fact we all should use this CP-gram.
Correct, I have heard, I have not used. But मेरा ख्याल से if it gives result, why not to use it?
CP-gram is there sir, but CP-gram is forwarding our request to the assessing officer and the commissioner. They want the paper. If their paper are not to their satisfaction,
वो तो होगा ही भाई, पेपर आप नहीं दे सकता।
अब वो जिसका केस में चलान नहीं है तो सीपीओ कुछ नहीं करेगा। हमारा केस में क्या बोला? Even the officer recommended कि भाई दे देना चाहिए because SSC return is uploaded simply technical reason the signed copy is not released to you. It was not required to be sent by speed post. It was delivered by the ordinary post. He was not aware.
But still देखिए आप विभाग कर देंगे तो that's a different thing. But if there can be an achievement, it is advisable that you should. One of my friends told that he had been to the income tax department and the department officer told him, don't disturb me now, I am now busy with my replies for this CP-grams. Until and unless I do it, I can't touch anything. So they are very much afraid of this thing. Let me tell you, that if there is any query from this CP-gram matter, the department, because the commissioner is after him, because he will be held. The finance ministry will not call the assessing officer, they will call only the commissioner. You can take it at him, but in your case only, I think, without...
Documents are not available, Celan is not available. So, otherwise, yeah, we use CP-gram and it's much more effective.
But आप इसको try कीजिए.
I don't have a Celan, so CP-gram में can...
No, you can write there also this point that only 2-3 years back this has come. Because for this, so we didn't consider this to be any requirement of preserving that thing. Because you are telling now that I have paid the tax.
Yeah. And in fact, the bank statement is also available therein, where the payment can be seen.
That will help you. No, तब तो आपको help में पाएगा.
How to mention that this is the same Celan or other Celan?
अरे वो डेट से मिलेगा।
वो टाइम के अंदर में क्या होता था कि वो खाली वो निकलता था, नो मच डिटेल्स बाकी है। अभी तो क्या है कि अदर डिटेल्स आर अवेलेबल। वो टाइम के अंदर में तुमका रीजन नहीं है, सही है, मतलब हार्ड कॉपी ऑल्सो।
देखिए
वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ना।
आप एक बार ट्राई तो कीजिए, देखिए।
बैंक का लगा कि करना चाहिए।
CP-gram क्या है कि ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल कमेटी करके कुछ है क्या CP-gram?
CP-gram प्राइम मिनिस्टर के अंडर में डायरेक्ट
पब्लिक ग्रीवेंस
ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल
बैंक का ombudsman है वैसे CP-gram डायरेक्ट केस
common people.
From PMO.
But CPO stands for what? Common people. I don't know.
Centralized public grievance.
Centralized
public grievance.
Centralized public grievance. I have heard he is also telling that there are effects from that.
No, their effect was a clear cut case, sir. Clear cut case is refund आपका अटका हुआ refund is due as per record तब मिल जाता है.
In fact, I have also used RBI in some cases. कि भाई I have not issued the refund. RBI is also effective, but CP-gram is much more effective.
आरटीआई गवर्नमेंट में बहुत इफेक्टिव है सर. गवर्नमेंट पेमेंट जो 5 ना होगा आरटीआई को ले पेज जाए. अभी हमारे यूपी गवर्नमेंट से पेमेंट बाकी था, आरटीआई करने के बाद मिल गया. वो बोला कि ये पेमेंट नहीं दिया है, तो पेमेंट नहीं दिया, माल सप्लाई किया तो पेमेंट क्यों नहीं देगा? They are very specific whether this payment has been done or no, sir. It is not done.
आरटीआई में तो सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन मांगते हैं, तो इन्फॉर्मेशन कैसे होगा?
वही तो बोला, पेमेंट दिया कि नहीं दिया उतना इन्फॉर्मेशन मांगना है.
इन्फॉर्मेशन कैसे होगा?
पैसा तो फिर सो पेमेंट मांग रहा है, पेमेंट दिया नहीं तो देना है. कोर्ट भी बोलते था देना ही है ना.
जब आरटीआई का लोग रिप्लाई करते हैं ना, तो वो समझ में आ जाता है कि आपको उसका पेमेंट करना है. तो पहले पेमेंट करते हैं, उसके बाद रिप्लाई देते हैं. कहीं बात
अरे बहुत अच्छे वो लिख देता है कि पेमेंट नहीं दिया, फंड नहीं था, वो मेरा बचाने के लिए बोलते था. मेरा उसका जिम्मेदारी आ जाता है. व्हाई यू नॉट रिलीज द फंड? बोले देयर वाज नो फंड अवेलेबल, नो ग्रांट अवेलेबल, सो वी कुड नॉट रिलीज द पेमेंट. ऐसा भी देते हैं. देयर द कोर्ट सेज पेमेंट इज ड्यू. नहीं सर वो आ रहे हैं, उनके से बात हो गई. ही विल बी विद इन 5 मिनट्स. आप बैठ सकते सर.
इतने 5 मिनट है, कुछ भी हो. हाँ
and he had exchanged currency and he paid the payment in cash in Nepal. So sir, is there any compliance or non-compliance or anything? He had made payment in USD in cash in Nepal. He had exchanged the cash via an authorized forex dealer.
For what he has made?
For event organization.
But he has earned any income from
Yes
there?
sir, yes sir. He has.
So is he declaring that income?
Yes sir, he will declare that income. Only the payment has been made in hard cash in USD in Nepal. So is it a non-compliance right here?
बोले तो ये तो 48 तो आई है अगर.
The cash covers foreign currency also.
Naturally.
Nowhere in 48 is written that cash cannot be paid. What is written? That it cannot be paid otherwise than through banks and channels. Don't confuse. Nowhere it is written by cash. Otherwise than by account pay check or bank transfer.
Yes.
Since it falls in that category. So problem will be there.
In one of the case, one bank account was attached. It is attached by the TDS department. Certain TDS payments were, and ultimately, finally, everything was settled. Now there is no outstanding. But after 10 years, the account is still attached.
Acha.
It's not, and the banker is not saying that you say, until the time I receive the confirmation from the department, I cannot open.
Correct.
So there should be a time limit. How much time this attachment should be there?
See,
I think it's mentioned in the.
No, it is not mentioned here. But one thing is that you should take help of a CPCAM at least for this. But you have to show that you have written to the bank that this should be released, and then you wait for 1 month, then only go to CPCAM. As far as I know, that you have to show that the appropriate authority had been approached, but you did get any result. Otherwise, they may not take any action. I think Ramesh is coming within 3-4 minutes, so I will also leave because I had to go somewhere. I'm just waiting for his entry. हाँ बोलिए बोलिए. आपको बैठने में तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
We are thankful to Sanjay Bhattacharya ji. He has made a very great celebration, not only on the aspects which are required to be covered by him, but he has also mentioned each and every query which were raised in the audience relating to income tax matters. So we actually feel proud that Mr. Bhattacharya is also here with us. I asked Mr. Gilzari Sharma ji to present memento to him. We are awaiting Mr. Ramesh Patodia ji.
Hello.
He has reached, I think.
The snakes are ready. You can take the snake. Within 5 minutes, we will reassemble. 5 मिनट का ब्रेक कर देते हैं, रमेश जी आ रहे तब तक खाली आप ये स्नैक्स ले लीजिए प्लीज़.
I request Gildhari ji to bring Ramesh ji on the dais, please.
आप लोग आगे आ जाइए ना, बेटर रहेगा, सब काफी लोग चलेंगे.
I request Naveen ji to present a flower bouquet to Ramesh ji. Sir. Profile, sir. I request Naveen ji to present a profile of Ramesh Patodia ji.
Thank you so much, sir. It's the nth time I am reading your profile. Sir is an advocate and a CA and is in continuous practice in Kolkata since the past 36 years and has been practicing mainly in consultancy and litigations in the field of direct and indirect tax and FEMA. He is a speaker at several professional organizations and is regular contributor to various publications by way of articles on several topics. He has also written several books on professional topics including commentary on Hindu undivided family, complete guide to reassessment under section 148 and commentary on direct tax Vivad Se Vishwas and also a commentary on section 80 IA. He is also a trustee of several reputed organizations. Welcome, sir. Sir, can you please? Okay. Sir, now I would request sir to please take on the deliberation.
Friends, my colleagues on the dais, ladies and gentlemen present over here. First of all, let me tender my unconditional apology because I am delayed, friends, and I hope you will apologize me, which was due to the jam. I think the preparation for 21st July has started. You understand, I think? So, because it took me almost 1 hour to come here from Kalighat, no issue, friends. The topic which has been given to me is tax audit, friends. And I will be deliberating on certain important legal aspects of tax audit, not the procedural aspects. I don't want to burden you with that, friends. And let me tell you, friends, that the tax audit, the way it has been designed now, I don't think that any tax auditor can do the tax audit correctly. The form 3CD, it is impossible, I think, for a chartered accountant to fill in that form correctly and certify in form number 3CA that the form is true and correct. Because I think the form asks you to certify that the form is, the information given is true and correct. And I'll give you a few important points, friends, why I'm saying so. Friends, let me come straight away to an example to explain. We have from our childhood, from our college days, school days, we have learnt that what is the way in which stock in trade is to be valued. If you are engaged in doing a business, you have to value the stock in trade, is it not? And stock in trade हमको जो सिखाया गया है, it has to be valued at cost or market price, whichever is lower. Is it not? And that principle which has been laid down, valuation of stock in trade at cost and market price, whichever is lower, has been laid down on the basis of judicial precedents for last maybe more than 100 years. And there are 2-3 pioneer decisions of Supreme Court in this regard, friends. Chain Roop Sampat Ram's case, 24 ITR page 481, then Berger Paint, Hindustan Zinc, all those cases have decided the principles which are which have gone into this method of valuation. But ICDS, all of you know, Income Computation and Disclosure Standards. Section 145 says that while computing the income, the method of accounting which has to be followed and ICDS has to be followed. Earlier the language in the section was accounting standards, that was replaced by ICDS. And ICDS prescribes a method of valuation which is absurd, I will say. I will give you an example. Say in case of an entity which is engaged in shares, which is doing shares trading, whose business is sale purchase of shares, stockbrokers. In case of stockbrokers also, this method of valuation will apply if I am engaged in the business. Now I am giving you a concrete example. Suppose I am holding a share whose cost is 500 rupees and the market price of that share is 5,000 rupees. Okay. So in this case, if you would have to value this share in your inventory, how much would be the value? 500, is it not? Now I have got another share whose cost is 5,000 but whose market price is 100. So in this case, what would be the inventory? 100 rupees, is it not? Because market price is lower. So if I have got only these two shares, then my inventory would be valued at how much? 600, correct answer. However, CBDT says no, this is not correct. CBDT says that you have to value the cost, you have to apply the cost or market price principle based on category. That is the category of shares. If you have got two shares in that category, then you have to take the cost of those two shares, you have to take market price of those two shares, and you have to then apply the cost or market price whichever is lower, which in the example which I gave you, the valuation will come to 5,100 as against the valuation of 600 in the way Chain Roop Sampatram Supreme Court has asked us to do. Is it correct? 5,100, if you value the shares at your inventory, you have to pay tax on 5,100. What does that mean? In this example, because I have taken a fairly simple example, because in order to understand this thing, what happens in this case is basically the market price of the company which has gone up 10 times is getting factored into the valuation, which I have not realized. Can you give me a guarantee that the value which I am doing at 5,100 today on 31st March would be realized next day? Can you guarantee me that? If you cannot guarantee, then how you can ask me to value the inventory at 5,100 in this example? It is absurd, friends. ICDS 8 deals with securities. It exactly gives this method of valuation in case of a stockbroker. Now, as an auditor, if I am asked to audit the accounts of that stockbroker, what would I do? I would of course have to value it at 5,100, even though I know that it is absurd. and it is directly against the decision of Delhi High Court in Chamber of Tax Consultants. Chamber of Tax Consultants case, friends, Delhi High Court Justice Muralidhar was delivered that judgment, in which the Chamber of Tax Consultants, all of you must be knowing, it's a very reputed organization like our this Views Exchange. And Chamber of Tax Consultant challenged the wires of ICDS before Delhi High Court, where this is one of the example which was given, and it was correlated with prudence. You see, we have learned from again I am saying from our childhood days that you have to follow three, in any method of accounting, you have to follow three principles. What are they? They are going concern, materiality, and prudence. You have to follow any method of accounting which should meet these three criteria. If it doesn't meet that criteria, then that cannot be followed. It is the basic AS1. AS1 is that, ICDS 1 is AS1. So AS1 हम लोगों को we have learned since ages. And why, friends? Prudence is to take into account all losses into account. All losses must be accounted for immediately, but profit should be accounted for only when it is sure that you will realize it. Is it not? This is the principle. So when you are asking me to value my shares at 5,100, by even though I have not realized that profit, you are going directly violating the principles laid down in ICDS 1. No, not ICDS 1, because ICDS 1 says prudence need not be followed. ICDS 1 says prudence you can bypass, but AS1 says prudence. So friends, I am asking a question to myself. When you are being told that prudence need not be followed, and in an example like this which I gave you, you are being asked to value the stock and you are being asked to pay 30% tax on that, and CBDT has said that in next year when you are not able to realize, then you will have to book losses in next year. So in next year, who will give me the refund of the taxes which I have already paid? You are saying that you can carry forward the loss or you can adjust it against your profits, but that presupposes that I have profits in that year. Or if I am carrying forward the loss, that means that there will be profits in subsequent years. Can you guarantee me? If you cannot guarantee me, then this is absurd. Absolutely ultra vires. Any court of law will strike down. It has already been struck down. I am at a loss to say that in spite of Chamber of Tax Consultants case which was pronounced in the year 2017, this judgment was pronounced on 8th of November 2017. It is reported in 400 ITR page 178 Delhi High Court. And till date, the department did not go to Supreme Court. However, in the Finance Act of 2018, you will find that there were certain amendments which were made in section 145 to overcome this judgment. But can it be overcome at all? Can by any law Income Tax Act be, even if you amend the Income Tax Act, you cannot do it in my opinion. Because charging tax on something which you have not realized, it will go against the principles of accrual laid down in Surji Ballabdas 46 ITR page 244. So friends, this is ICDS complying, when you are complying with ICDS reporting in form number 3CD. Form number 3CD is asking you to, I have got the form, friends, and it says that whether any adjustment is required to be made to the profit or loss for complying with the provisions of income computation and disclosure standard. Whether any adjustment is required to be made. If answer is yes, give details of such adjustment, and then it gives all the list of ICDS. I think it's a Herculean task for any auditor to comply with this requirement. And he cannot, he cannot comply with this correctly. And the way NAFRA is now on the auditors, NAFRA orders you must have seen, they are imposing penalty of 1 crore as if 1 crore is 1 rupee. On the auditors, when you are being paid 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees for tax audit, you can expect to get a penalty order of 1 crore rupees, and for defending that 1 crore, your whole life may be finished, friends. And precisely these are the reasons, friends, that I surrendered my certificate of practice last year and enrolled as a advocate with the Bar Council. Jokingly, friends, but to the core of my heart, I am a chartered accountant. So I have sympathies with all my professional brothers that in this age of NAFRA, I will call this as age of NAFRA, when you are discharging your responsibility as a chartered accountant and doing a test function as tax auditor, I think that you must be very, very careful these days and should not leave it on your article clerks, article students, because this is not a, I think, easy job now. Filling in form number 3CD and reporting tax audit, and over and above that 271J sword is already there in Income Tax Act. 271J आप लोगों को मालूम होगा. Even an income tax officer who may not be as qualified as you are, but he is empowered to penalize you. This is the fact, friends. ICDS, this one aspect I have told you, I'll tell you 2-3 more things in ICDS. ICDS 3 says, retention money. Retention money in a construction contract. Again, in a construction contract, when a contractor has been engaged, say, for constructing a huge building worth 1,000 crores, the developer doesn't know that how the construction has been done. The consumer doesn't know whether my flat is properly done or not. The developer gives you guarantee of 1 year or 2 years, that if there is any defect in this 2 year, I will rectify that defect free of cost. Is it not? Generally it is given. So similarly, when he is engaging another contractor, he also expects that kind of guarantee from the contractor also, that if any defect is there, then the contractor will rectify that defect within a period of 2 years. And in order to ensure that the contractor does it, it cannot be only a verbal assurance. It has to be some kind of a mechanism by which he is able to enforce it. And therefore, either it is a bank guarantee or it is a retention money, that out of the total contract value I will retain 5%, which will be payable to you only after the period of commitment is over. Is it not? So during that period, neither I know, neither he knows that whether this 5% will be payable by me or whether this 5% will be received or not. So in such a situation, friends, what do I do? As a contractor, I cannot account for this amount as my income unless I actually receive it, because at the end of the 2 years, 5% may not come to me. This is the well laid out principle based on the same concept of accrual, based on the same concept of prudence. However, ICDS 3 says that retention money will be eligible to be treated as income even though it may not have been received. And it will be allowed as a deduction if it is not received subsequently. I don't think that any chartered accountant was there in the committee which framed ICDS, though there were 2, I think. Out of 9 members, there were 2 chartered accountants, so they must have been voted out by 7/2. This is the way it must have been framed. Can you imagine that retention money is to be treated as, even though Calcutta High Court decision is there, 179 ITR page 8, Calcutta High Court says that no, retention money, simplex case, retention money is not liable to be included in your income. So friends, again, when you are confronted of a situation like this, what will you do? As an auditor, you will of course say that no, I have to go by section 145(2) and by ICDS. मेरा हाथ तो बंधा हुआ है, I cannot do anything. And once you do the reporting, then CPC has got nothing. CPC machine only does everything. The brain is not working. Artificial intelligence has not yet developed so much to look into all these things. Yesterday only in one of our clients' case, one intimation under section 143(1) came with an addition of 1.59 crores. And what was the reason for that addition? Because that figure was reported in tax audit, where you are required to the tax auditor is required to report whether you are following the inclusive method or exclusive method of accounting. In the inclusive method, when you are valuing the purchases and sales, you are taking into account the taxes also with the sales. Like GST is included in the sales and you are claiming the expenditure on the debit side. Whereas in the exclusive method, you are accounting for the sales separately, GST is taken separately. But the tax audit report has a reporting requirement that if you are not following the inclusive method, then what is the effect on profit and loss? This is the reporting requirement. And so what we do, we compute the amount of taxes and we say that this is the amount by which the profit will increase, and same amount we say so that this is the amount by which the profit will decrease. The effect is nil. So this 1.59 crore was shown in the effect, and that has been added by CPC, and I have been sent the 143(1) intimation without any so cause, without any opportunity of natural justice. Even though section 143(1) says that you cannot do it unless you give an opportunity. Now, I have got only limited options. To the top of it, in case you want to file rectification under section 154 against this, the online process does not allow you to do anything but to reprocess only. Only thing allowed is reprocessing. I am not an expert, but I have been told that this is the way. Or you have to file a 154 with the assessing officer, jurisdictional assessing officer. You can file a 154. Or the third situation can be that I go to the writ court under Article 226 of Constitution of India and plead violation of natural justice on that ground. So friends, these are the things. So regarding friends, ICDS, there are a lot of issues. What I mean to say is, and on this particular reporting aspect of ICDS, it is my earnest request to all of you that should not be taken as lightly and by just putting dash or nil unless you actually see it. ICDS has a lot of mistakes and reporting is going to be incorrect. Though and even though you report there whatever figures are coming as per ICDS, but in the form number 3CA, you have, I think, got the option of giving your notes, where there you can give your whatever comments are there in order to safeguard the client. I think client, because my experience had been that the income tax officer, the assessing officer would follow the tax audit report only to the extent it is beneficial to him, not otherwise. If it is beneficial to the SSC, any reporting which you are doing which is beneficial to the SSC, the assessing officer would not follow that but would make further queries. But it is not vice versa. That has been my experience. So friends, this ICDS reporting, this is one important point I wanted to tell you. Second point is, again, this is also related to inventory valuation only, friends. Inventory valuation, I have found that generally what happens is, in case of SMEs, I have found that inventory valuation is done by the management only, and they give a figure which is rarely verified by the auditors that meticulously, though in some cases where the say the software like Tally is maintained, and if the software is programmed properly, then the Tally software can give you the figure of inventory on the basis of first in first out or LIFO, FIFO, whatever methods etc. which has been programmed. But this is rarely done. This is out of, I am telling out of my, and generally what the tax auditors will do, as certified by the proprietor, as certified by the partner, we try to safeguard ourselves with the help of that certificate. But friends, I have my doubts in this changed circumnafra kind of scenario, that to what extent you can rely on the certificate of management when you are discharging your duties. You may be held to have not done your duties properly, because method of valuation, you are being asked whether valuation has been done correctly or not. So unless you are giving any qualified report that you have not been allowed to value the stock in trade, or you yourself are not aware how the stock has been valued, simply putting that as certified by the management, if you are writing this, this will not be in the fitness of things, in my opinion. And again here friends, section 142 2A was amended in the Finance Act of 2023, all of you must be knowing, where 142 2A deals with the special audit. All of you are aware that where the income tax officer can direct special audit of accounts in certain cases. And in this budget what happened, they have prescribed that even though audit may be prescribed to be done by a chartered accountant, but the officer can ask inventory valuation to be valued by a cost accountant. That he can do. So friends, here we are faced in a situation where even though when you have audited the accounts, you have given one inventory figure, and if it is a say case of a company where I think in Caro specific reporting requirement is there insofar as inventory is concerned. Even otherwise, in case of non-Caro or non-company cases, we are reporting on the inventory. That inventory has been valued at cost, all those things which we discussed. And now post this amendment of 142 2A, we may be facing a situation where the assessing officer is getting the valuation of inventory done by a cost accountant. So what does, and the cost accountant values the inventory in a manner which is different from the figure which you have arrived at. Then you are at loggerheads with him. You have to justify your valuation. Now who is correct, whose valuation is correct, who will decide? In case the valuation of both the auditors is different. Hindustan Zinc Supreme Court case, what happened? Friends, what happened in Hindustan Zinc? Hindustan Zinc case, what happened friends? The cost or market price, whichever is lower, is the principle which is prescribed. Now Hindustan Zinc is manufacturing zinc. Say the zinc price is $1,000 per ton, and the market price of the zinc is, in say zinc is an internationally sellable commodity. The prices are governed by the LME prices on London Metal Exchange. So if the LME price goes up or down, the price accordingly, the domestic price will go up and down, subject to the customs duty and the transportation charges, etc., etc. That can be the reason for difference between the domestic and the international prices. Now suppose the domestic prices are higher, if you were to sell in domestic market, the price which you will get is higher than the price at which you will sell in the international market, because of the reasons which I have told you. Now Hindustan Zinc had been valuing the inventory at cost or market price by determining the market price based on the domestic market prices. However, in one particular year, the inventory was valued at a price which was based on international market prices, which was of course lower. And so the question arose that whether this can be done. And in that context, Supreme Court said that no, if you have consistently followed one method of comparing the cost and domestic market prices, you cannot compare it with international market prices in that year, because that is not comparison, because that is you are taking into account the profit which you would have made in Hindustan Zinc's case, friends. So why I am trying to bring this case, friends, is that inventory valuation, when you are doing this, it is a onerous exercise. All those principles must be known to you. You must take into account while discharging your attest function, and you must keep records also that you have done so. What I am listening is that peer review and all are being strengthened, and I think SME firms will also be subjected to peer review by institute itself. So all these things are going to come, friends. Now, friends, another important point is in regard to tax audit again is another information is regarding expenditure incurred for violation of any expenditure by way of penalty or fine for violation of any law for the time being in force. You are required to give details. Please furnish the details of amount debited to profit and loss account in the. Now, you see, Supreme Court pronounced one important judgment in the case of Apex Laboratories, 442 ITR page 1. Apex Laboratories case was related to doctors, and the doctors were being given freebies in the form of television sets, foreign tours, car, etc., for promoting the sales of pharmaceutical companies and for promoting the pathologies, etc. And in and these expenditure were being claimed as deductible expenditure by these pharmaceutical companies, and this the assessing officer disallowed that this is this is an expenditure incurred for violation of law, because this was against the guidelines of medical council. So in that context, the matter went up to Supreme Court in Apex Laboratories case, and Apex Laboratories Supreme Court decided in favor of department, and the arguments that medical council guidelines could not be said to be a law were brushed aside, nothing doing. And in between, section 37 already had an explanation, penalty for violation. This clause was there since long, but it was again modified, and now as a result of that modification, friends, when you are going to report this under this clause, if I have violated traffic light signal and I pay a fine of 500 rupees, is it allowable or not? Is it an expenditure for violation of law? It is for. So that means that you have to, when you are going through motor car expenses or because I will claim it as motor car expense, because there to रोज ही होता है यार. Yes sir, I am, because it is provided in the law, and that too forcefully now. So the question is that whether this kind of a parking fine violation, whether this will also be liable to be reported here or not, and can you report, can you ensure that these kind of things have been covered when you are doing the tax audit? If you have not covered, then what kind of mechanism you have built, what kind of internal control as an auditor you have built, that even if it goes unreported, what is the defense you are going to take if you are confronted with a query from NAFRA, or even ROC is now poking. So what I am trying to say, friends, it is becoming more and more difficult. It is not that easy doing the tax audit which we used to do 10 years ago. Now machine is looking into everything, and artificial intelligence is doing everything, and the information is getting flagged on the profile. The department is now issuing notice under section 148 based on insight information on the profile. Is it not? So this is one important another point, friends. And related to it again, section 28 also, all of you must be aware that the provisions were brought in. Section 194R was brought in regarding deduction of tax at source. If you are giving in the example which I gave you regarding doctors, under the law which was there before introduction of 194R, if any doctor or any, I mean, I am not against doctors, if any doctor is here, please excuse me, because of the Apex Laboratories I took, it can be any professional, it can be an advocate or a chartered accountant, anybody. So if any professional was given any freebies, it was not liable for deduction of tax at source. However, 194R was introduced where the TDS compliance mechanism was brought in, that if you are giving any such benefit or perquisite, then it is liable for deduction of tax at source. And simultaneously section 28 also was amended, that any benefit in cash or in kind. Earlier the interpretation which was given by Supreme Court in Mahindra's case, that it is only if it is benefit is in kind, then only the provisions of section 28 can be applied. However, the law has now been amended. If the benefit is in cash or in kind, or partly in cash or partly in kind, then the provisions of section 28 will creep in. Pardon? If a doctor is being sponsored for attending a conference, in my personal opinion, if it is really in the nature of a conference, say like this, and it is not a conference disguised as conference, but in effect it is a foreign tour to Mauritius, and in Mauritius we saw one residential seminar where a 1 3-hour session is held, but 3 days are for Mauritius sightseeing, then of course CBDT is not going to leave it. Then it cannot be it is not a benefit or perquisite. He has been, doctor is being called for that conference, and the company is genuinely trying to do some research or do some kind of a knowledge sharing. That is the purpose. You cannot say that it is a kind of benefit or perquisite to me. Can you say, the CBDT though has given some examples, I think, that the hotel accommodation, can you say that hotel accommodation I will treat it as perquisite, and only the cost of conference I will say that it is only limited to that? I think that is a absurd reasoning totally. you cannot you cannot bifurcate the things in that manner. Ultimately, the purpose is to take care of only the things which were given by way of benefit of or perquisite, not these things. Yes, sir, you are trying to.
प्रॉब्लम मेरा ये आएगा कि जो लोग डीलर्स लोग गए हैं, अगर मैं दो चीज़ है, मैं अगर कंपनी का ऑडिट करता हूँ तो मैं खर्चे को अलाउ करूँगा नहीं करूँगा? अगर मैं वो डीलर का ऑडिट करता हूँ और उसका ITR लगाता हूँ तो क्या मैं उसको बोलूँ कि वो जो इनकम नहीं दिखाया वहाँ को क्या करूँ?
एग्जैक्टली, बिकॉज आप डीलर की ऑडिट कर रहे हो तो 28 में आपको उसको पकड़ना है, हाँ, इनकम में, और कंपनी की ऑडिट कर रहे हो तो 194R में TDS कटा है कि नहीं कटा है, ये आपको डिसीजन लेना है।
दोनों मेरा क्लाइंट है,
वो आपका दोनों आपका क्लाइंट है, तो आप एक जगह तो एक तरफ का उसका बेनिफिट का व्यू ले रहे हो, दूसरी तरफ then you will be caught because you cannot take two different views at माने same person cannot take two different views. If he has already taken a view, he has to stick to that view for the whole transaction. So what I am trying to highlight before this house is, friends, it is becoming increasingly difficult to comply as an auditor because these are all subjective things, and when you are giving somebody a foreign trip for achieving a target, it's a kind of a sales promotion. It's a kind of a sales promotion. How you can say that it is a benefit or perquisite to me? Even department is giving. आप किसी को डिपार्टमेंट का को किसी का टैक्स इवेडर का नाम देते हो, आपको भी अवार्ड मिलता है, इज इट नॉट? सो वो भी तो ये सब कर रहे हैं ना। ये क्या मैं इस पॉइंट को मेरा जो कंपनी का मेन रिपोर्ट में इसी का जो अदर पॉइंट्स आता है वहाँ पे मेंशन कर सकता हूँ कि इसमें आप मेंशन आपको करना ही पड़ेगा। अब प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जैसे ही आप मेंशन करोगे वो डिपार्टमेंट को पॉइंट मिल जाएगा। हाँ, तो आपको तो करना ही पड़ेगा बिकॉज यू कैनॉट टेक अ व्यू वन वे और अदर। आप अगर बोलोगे कि ये 194R में आएगा तो आपका क्लाइंट बोलेगा नहीं, अकॉर्डिंग टू मी नहीं आएगा, मेरे हिसाब से नहीं आएगा। सो माने हु विल डिसाइड? ओनली द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ कैन डिसाइड, अदरवाइज तो ये इशू सेटल नहीं होगा। या CBDT कम्स आउट विद अ सर्कुलर व्हिच इज इम्पॉसिबल। माने सो देयरफॉर फ्रेंड्स, इन सच अ सिचुएशन, कमिंग बैक टू आवर टॉपिक, दैट you have to discharge your responsibilities in a very, very meticulous manner, and you have to give this by way of a note. Whatever, putting forward your view, putting forward your client's view, and putting forward the whatever relevant statutory provisions are. And you have to be, I think, if I would have been in your place, I would be non-committal. I cannot say that how it will be. It has to be decided. This is the way one has to adapt. Otherwise, if one takes a view in any manner, either you will suffer or your client will suffer.
इसके हम ICDS को अवॉइड कर सकते हैं। मेन रिपोर्ट में लिख सकते हैं कि दिस रीजन के लिए मैं ICDS का प्रोविजन को नहीं लिख रहा हूँ। मेन रिपोर्ट में क्या लैंग्वेज यूज कर सकता हूँ? ICDS में you have to quote the principles laid down by माने prudence principle जो है, which has been laid down in several Supreme Court decisions, and Chamber of Tax Consultant का जो केस है उसमें Delhi High Court has also said one thing, that judicial, एक तो ICDS में क्या बोलता है कि अगर इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में कुछ लिखा हुआ है that will prevail over ICDS. लकीली ये बात तो वो लोग मान रहे हैं, but they are saying कि judicial decision में कोई चीज है वो that will not prevail, which is absurd. Delhi High Court has said कि if there is anything, any judicial decisions on this point, अगर Supreme Court का decision है, that is law of the land as per Article 141 of Constitution of India. So you have to, माने in the example which I gave you, एक नहीं, तो वही मैं चाहता हूँ कि मैं उसके मेन रिपोर्ट में लिख के मैं बच सकता हूँ ना प्रेस से। Yes, आपको लिखना ही होगा। अगर आप नहीं लिखेंगे तो मैं जो एग्जांपल दिया उसमें आप 5100 इन्वेंट्री वैल्यूएशन जैसे ही कर देंगे तो वो तो 143(1) में एडजस्टमेंट होके आ जाएगा।
और उसके बाद उसका आप अपील करिए, 20% टैक्स दीजिए, फाइट करते रहिए, कम से कम ट्राइब्यूनल तक तो आपको फाइट करना ही होगा. सो these are practical issues, friends.
लेकिन नहीं दिए बिना भी तो नहीं चलेगा ना.
नहीं दिए बिना भी नहीं चलेगा आपको. दैट इज वाई आपको टैक्टफुली इसको नोट में कैसे कवर करना है, एंड ऑफ कोर्स एज एंड व्हेन दिस कम्स इट हैज टू बी टेकन केयर. क्या गिरधारी जी?
10-5 मिनट चला सकते हैं.
So I think then better to take questions from the audience. Okay friends, though there is lot more to discuss, because there are I have tried to concentrate only on the legal issue. There are other legal issues as well, but I am really once again apologize friends that because of my delay you have lost precious time which I could have given. So now I take I'll take any questions within the time, friends. Thank you. कार टैक्स ऑडिट की जो रिक्वायरमेंट 9C वगैरह की आप बात कर रहे हो ना, जीएसटी. हाँ, दैट इज देयर. क्लॉज 44 इज देयर.
तो अभी क्या मार्च 23 के लिए अभी
डिफॉर्मेंट था वो.
नहीं, क्लॉज 44 लेट मी टेल यू फ्रेंड्स, आई एम नॉट अपडेटेड ऑन दिस, बट लास्ट ईयर हम लोग है ना, आई वाज इन वन ऑफ द कमिटी ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूट वेयर वी वर डूइंग पीयर रिव्यू ऑफ सर्टेन टैक्स ऑडिट रिपोर्ट्स. सो ड्यूरिंग एंड इनफैक्ट गाइडेंस नोट भी इंस्टीट्यूट का जो नया आया टैक्स ऑडिट का, लास्ट ईयर ही आया था, बहुत बढ़िया गाइडेंस नोट आया है. तो उस समय ये डिस्कशन हो रहा था कि क्लॉज 44 पे सीबीडीटी का एक सर्कुलर भी आया है. तो टू द एक्सटेंट आई रिमेंबर, क्लॉज 44 कंप्लायंस हैज टू बी मेड फॉर दिस. पिछले इस साल जो 23 की जो रिपोर्ट्स है उसमें दैट इज एप्लीकेबल. यस. So friends, 2-3 more points let me tell you in relation to tax audit again, जो कि जिसमें you have to be very very careful is regarding, one is regarding the applicability of section 56. 56 जो है clause number 28, 29 and 29A and 29B, इन चारों clauses में 56 जो 56 to 10 and 56 to 7B. 56 to 7B में क्या बोलता है? Whether during the previous year the SSE received any consideration for issue of shares which exceeds the fair market value of shares? If yes, please give details of same. This is one consideration for issue of shares over and above the fair market value of shares. Reporting on this is going to be very very difficult in some cases. Computation of fair market value is not that easy because rule 11U and 11UA, उसमें DCF valuation can be taken into account. So there the subjectivity can creep in. If you it is not the simple plus and minus. DCF valuation अगर आप करोगे तो DCF valuation में आपको अगर आपने फैक्टर हाई लो कर दिया तो आपका valuation accordingly हाई लो हो जाएगा. So therefore friends, when you are reporting under this clause 56 to 7B, that is one very very onerous task. Yes sir. Face value exceeds fair market value. So you have to say that even though fair market value is 0, you are issuing at 10 rupees. That means you are charging even 10 rupees should not have been charged. Though it is not that easy friends, because the department does not understand the whole thing. You can the live example which comes to my mind is Paytm. Paytm is making continuous losses for last so many years, but share price of Paytm is running at 800 rupees. The market capitalization of Paytm may be in excess of 1 lakh crore. So why a person is buying Paytm whose breakup value is 0? Zomato, Unicorn जितने हैं, वो सबका तो valuation negative ही है. But they do not understand that what the people are buying is फॉर 20, माने आज से 20 साल के बाद के लिए वो ले रहे हैं, आज के लिए नहीं ले रहे हैं, उनका मैकेनिज्म, बट वो थ्योरी उनको समझ में नहीं आता है. दे आर सिंपली ट्राइंग टू प्लग वन लूप होल. कोई एक लूप होल मिला उनको, उसने प्लग करने के चक्कर में उन्होंने डाल दिया, एंड विच इज हर्टिंग सो मेनी पीपल. दैट इज
इस केस में क्या लिखेगा, वो कंपनी में लॉस है तो डिस्काउंट में शेयर देगा नहीं?
भाई वो जीरो में थोड़ी शेयर दे के कंपनी थोड़ी छोड़ देगा. भाई इन ऑफ द मार्केट जो एसेट्स है, ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट एसेट्स का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, हाँ, दैट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट एसेट्स आर नॉट इंटेंजिबल. आज मेरी कंपनी का, आज पेटीएम का अगर ब्रांड वैल्यू पकड़ेंगे तो वही हो सकता है, पेटीएम खाली ब्रांड सेल करेगा, उसी में उसको करोड़ों करोड़ों रुपया मिल जाएगा. इज इट नॉट? दैट इज नॉट गेटिंग वैल्यूड.
का वैल्यूएशन का आ गया है, तो इट इज एडवाइजेबल कि मैं जब 2023 का भी वैल्यूएशन करूं तो एक कॉस्ट ऑडिटर का रिपोर्ट भी ले लूं और उसका जो वैल्यूएशन है वो रख लूं. एक्सपर्ट आइडिया. तो बाद में बोलेगा तो मैं उसको दे दूंगा.
अच्छा,
तो इसको दिक्कत ही नहीं है, कोई से रिपोर्ट लेना है.
बहुत बढ़िया आइडिया आपने दिया. और अगर कॉस्ट ऑडिटर का भी ले लो, काम खत्म. तो आपके पास वो डिस्प्यूट करने के लिए पॉइंट रहता है. हाँ, आपको अगर आप कॉस्ट नहीं, कॉस्ट ऑडिटर में है कि असेसिंग ऑफिसर को पावर है, वो वैल्यूएशन करवा सकता है. हाँ, ही कैन गेट द कॉस्ट वैल्यूएशन डन बाय ए कॉस्ट ऑडिटर, इन्वेंट्री वैल्यूएशन.
पर जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको,
वो जरूरी नहीं है वो करेगा. हाँ, टू बी ऑन द सेफर साइड. देन फ्रेंड्स, इनकम एंड एक्सपेंडिचर ऑफ प्रायर पीरियड credited or debited to the profit and loss account, या liability of a contingent nature. liability of a contingent nature लेके बहुत डिस्प्यूट है. रोटो आरके बोल के सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फेमस केस है. रोटो आरके कंट्रोल्स रिपोर्टेड इन, रोटो आरके का जो डिसीजन है वो 414 ITR में शायद रिपोर्टेड है. रोटो आरके में क्या हुआ फ्रेंड्स कि सपोज आई एम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फोन्स, आईफोन. अब आईफोन का मेरे को 2 साल का गारंटी देना है. 2 साल में जो भी खराब होगा तो मैं उसको रिप्लेस करूंगा. सो मेरे को जो पैसा मिल रहा है आईफोन सेल करने के लिए, ए पार्ट ऑफ दैट कंसिडरेशन इज टुवर्ड्स दैट ऑल्सो. इज इट नॉट? सो देयरफॉर व्हेन आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग माई अकाउंट्स, आई एम फैक्टरिंग कि मेरे को 1 साल में इस तरह का सर्विसिंग के लिए कितना रुपया खर्चा करना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज आउट ऑफ माई पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस आई हैव कैलकुलेटेड अ फिगर एंड आई हैव डेबिटेड दिस अमाउंट एज प्रोविजन फॉर वारंटी. इज इट कंटिजेंट और व्हाट? इज इट अ कंटिजेंट लाइबिलिटी और accrued liability? That was the dispute in Roto RK controls Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said कि in such a situation this is not a contingent liability. Only the quantification of that liability is not correct, but there will be liability that is ascertained. Quantification is estimated. In such a situation you can quantify that amount by going through your past experience, or if past experience is not available then future से भी आप कर सकते हो. So when you are asked to report the amount debited to the profit and loss account which is of a contingent nature, अब आप इसको अगर contingent में दिखा दोगे तो ये तो स्ट्रेट अवे CPC तो ऐड करके भेज दे रहा है. इज इट नॉट? वहाँ पे तो ये भी हो रहा है कि उसमें रिक्वायरमेंट है कि लायबिलिटी ऑफ ए कंटिजेंट नेचर नॉट डेबिटेड टू प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट, वो फिगर लिखना पड़ता है. वो अगर फिगर वहाँ आप डाल देते हो तो वो ऐड होके आ रहा है. फिर आपको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ रहा है कि ये आई हैव नॉट डेबिटेड इट, इट इज़ ओनली रिपोर्टेड. सो फ्रेंड्स, रोटो आर के कंट्रोल्स का जो केस है दैट शुड बी केप्ट इन माइंड. और उसमें एक और केस है सुप्रीम कोर्ट का 37 ITR पेज 1 कैलकाटा कंपनी लिमिटेड. वहाँ पे भी यही चीज़ था कि आपका जो एस्टिमेटेड जो एक्सपेंडिचर है that is eligible to be deducted. That is one, friends. And last, income or expenditure, prior period expenditure और प्रायर पीरियड इनकम. प्रायर पीरियड एक्सपेंडिचर क्या है कि अगर आपका एक्सपेंडिचर इस साल में है मगर बिल अगर लास्ट ईयर का है तो असेसिंग ऑफिसर विल से इट इज अ प्रायर पीरियड एक्सपेंडिचर. दैट इज नॉट. वेदर द माने द expenditure, even though it may be related to, the bill may be related to last year, but if the expenditure has been like the finalization took place in this year, the amount got finalized in this year, then it will be eligible for deduction in this year, notwithstanding that the date of the bill may be that of the last year. So all these things, friends, whatever case laws I have told you, when you are discharging your responsibility as a tax auditor, unless you are fully aware of all these things, you will not be able to correctly give the report. That is my submission, friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh ji, for such a lively presentation. हम लोग थोड़ा लेट हो गया, सर का बात कम सुन सके, ये हम लोग मिस करेंगे और नेक्स्ट टाइम इनको फिर बुलाएंगे. और with clapping we welcome. We express gratitude and thanks, sir. I will request Naveen sir to offer a moment from the club. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the audience for the patience hearing.